folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's up, everybody? Hopefully y'all can hear me. I can't even see the avatar pulsating as I speak because I got the logo in the way. Let me move that really quick. So I can bare minimum confirm that I'm being heard. I want to be heard. All right, now here I go. Here I go. I kind of want to change that picture. My camera will not be on today. Sorry for those of you that just like to see me on camera, fumbling around, spilling my coffee. It's going to be an off-camera show today. It feels weird, actually. It legitimately feels weird not being on camera. It's like I don't even know exactly where to look. What I'm talking about. Anyway, enough of all that. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. What's up? Peace and salute to everyone that's in the building today. Shout out to the early bird squads, those that make it in bright and early before we even get things going. Corey DeMarcus Draper. That's a name right there. Corey DeMarcus Draper in the building with the first comment says, yo, Rod of God podcast. Shout out to the Rod of God podcast. Says salute BR. Salute chat watching from the clouds. Aaron B in the building. The Hood Culture and Politics Review says a lot of white women is what it takes to excommunicate from the black community. Interesting. I think, well, I had it worded not quite correctly at first. What does it take to excommunicate? I reworded it to what does it take to be excommunicated? Well, even then, I guess your answer would apply. Someone could get excommunicated if they have a lot of white women, but not really. I'm leaning towards the notion that there are no impeachable offenses in Black America. I don't know. We're going to get into it. Aaron B in the building. Killmatic in the building says, let's effing go. Snuggles. The answer is nothing. The fact that you have people selling drugs to each other and glorify it. The fact that you glorify pimps and HOs. The answer ultimately is nothing. I think you are right. We do glorify horrible things. It's something that we talk about quite often on this show. How the black community will praise and celebrate the worst of behavior and will criticize those who criticize the bad behavior. They're the coons, they're the sellouts, they're the ones that don't understand the plight of the brother man. Yeah, understanding that plight ends, in my perspective, when you're doing harm to other people in the community. That's where that plight, understanding the plight, normally ends. It's always an interesting dynamic, interesting thing that happens when, let's just say somebody has committed a crime. Somebody has committed a crime. They've broken into somebody's house. They're being arrested, hauled off. They was hauled off aggressively by the police. You know, the person, quite often the pro-black will defend that person. Will defend him. Absolutely defended him. But then you ask that same person the question, okay, what if you laying in bed with your family, with your wife, your kids tucked away in their room, safe and secure as they should be, and that same person is crawling through your window? What are you going to do? He breaking into your house. You see him climbing through your window. Are you shooting him right in the forehead? So when you follow that logic all the way home, what they're really saying is don't criticize that person who I would shoot in the forehead if they did that to me. But don't criticize him because he's doing it to thy neighbor. Like, it turns into a stupid thing. Iggy7 in the building. What does it take for someone to be excommunicated in the Black America? Answer: become conservative. Ah, you're on to something. I like that. I like that. Kaya Do in the building. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Let me make my way on down here. Oh, I see some things happening. See some things happening. Shout out to grown man business. Let's start with Kim Clackett, Tommy Sotomayor, and Synthetic Cyborg. Actually, the Synthetic Cyborg, as you call her, is. Sorry, I had to stretch. That was a good stretch. The Synthetic Cyborg is actually somewhat partially the reason why this whole line of thought, this conversation came into play. It was actually something that Edward Anderson said. Edward Anderson will go on a rant, and sometimes something just thrown off in the middle of his rant will be like, it's not the main subject of his rant, but it's just something that he just ducked off in the middle of his rant somewhere. And it's like, I could talk about that, because he'll veer off and pontificate. And so what I ended up doing, he did a response to one of O'Shea's video when O'Shea was touching on the whole Cynthia G situation, which I didn't watch it because I literally don't go to her channel and consume the content. She got to really make the news. And by make the news, I mean make Black YouTube news. O'Shea talk about it, everybody else talk about it. Then it's like, okay, it's a thing. Let me see what's going on. But other than that, I just don't be on her channel, just checking stuff out. And I didn't even check this one out, and I'm not going to check this one out. But I understand that some white guy called into her show and was kicking dirt on black men, and she was just, happy-go-lucky in agreement, and just elated. And a white man came up and echoed her talking points. That's the image that I have of it. That's the general image that I have of what happened. I didn't watch it. Ed made a good point where he was asking the question that this is a pro. She hangs out in pro black circles. Not the same as like if conservative black folks congregating, where there's probably more tolerance for certain types of criticism for black people. But even then, I think a white person can't get to dais and come and say some crazy stuff. Even then, like for example, when Fantastic let that white dude up and he started talking crazy, Fantastic came under a lot of criticism for that. Even though when people actually listen to it all the way through, and we've had the IQ the debate here. The IQ debate is nothing that that we shy away from. We've had that discussion with some white dude coming up talking about it. It's like, hold on. The options is to either just kick them off the show or refute his talking points. They decided to go the option of refuting his talking points. And in the end, shout out to 001 in debate. The guy left the stream in shame. Well, the stream started on Fantastic, then it carried over to Game Changers channel, and Zero defeated him intellectually. And that was that. So that's one way to deal with it. Either defeat it intellectually or just kick the person off. But the high five and hee hawing and agreeing with it, that's a whole nother thing. Now, Leo Anthony says she's not pro-black. By what standard is she not? If she's accepted into pro-black circles, she's pro-black. She's de facto a part of what they call the B1 network. She's pro-black. No, she's pro-black. You can't not pro-black her by their definitions of what they consider to be pro-black. I'm pro-black in the sense that I want to see black people progress. So in that sense, I'm pro-black, but I don't subscribe to all the nonsense that they subscribe to. But you can argue a lot of people are not pro-black. Hell, I don't think it's pro-black to make a buck-breaking documentary in 2021. But hell, a pro-black person did it. So you just can't say somebody is not pro-black just because they do and say some things that you don't like. Explain how are they fake pro-black? You said they are fake pro-blacks. Explain that. No, they're pro-black. They're pro-black and they line up pretty much with most of the pro-black people say. So I don't know by what standard do you say that any of them are not pro-blacks. You just saying that they on some bull. That's all you're saying. But we'll get back into that. There's a lot of different things going on. Shout out to Grown Man Business. He says their Lord and Savior KS is flipping the script on the lost souls now. What do you mean by that? Because only people that was to be titled as that you could pin Kevin Samuels on them as the Lord and Savior is black men. Kevin Samuels is doing shows with men, talking to men, and yeah. So are you saying that men? That the Lord and Savior Kevin Samuels is flipping the script on the lost souls now? I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but Kevin Samuels is doing shows for men. That's one thing I got in my notes that I want to talk about too. Listen. Hold on. How can one be B1 and have children by a white man? Oh yeah. Yeah. The same individual who you're talking about, who I think you're talking about, I remember her first few videos, and the individual that I believe you're talking about, and she knew very little about blackness. This is some fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. Dashiki swirling with a dashiki on, fake it till you make it type stuff. If you're talking about who I think you're talking about. She was on some. She didn't even know that it was a such thing as dark-skinned, brown-skinned, or light-skinned black people. She never heard the terms. She'd be talking about revolution and going to war against a literal war against the white man. I remember her earlier videos when she was like, "We can't make enemies with the people who have the guns. Come on now, folks." Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. But anyway, I didn't come here to talk about her. But I just found out this morning that Kevin Samuels took down his his video last night. It's getting bad. And I feel him, because if you're about the image of black men, if that's what you're about, If that's what you're about, then by all means, that wasn't a good look. That wasn't a good look. But as I said, and I will stand on this, you open up that panel for men who disagree with you. I say, what are you going to get? What are you going to get? I stand by that. I stand by that. Somebody's asking what happened on Kevin Samuels. It wasn't, as far as I know, it wasn't nothing specifically that happened other than he did a show talking about men. He opened it up for men who disagreed with him. The men who disagreed with him came up and they sounded really stupid. They sounded every bit as bad as the women, even though I would call this is what I would caution people on when they saying that the men were just as bad as the women. Let's not lose sight of the fact that a woman did call in one day and she was essentially saying that she wanted advice on how she could find a high value man with herpes. Well, she said she has a gift she couldn't get rid of. I don't know if it was HIV or herpes. But either way it goes, she wanted to find a high value man with that same gift. So let's always keep that in mind before we say that the brothers sound just as bad as the women, which they did sound bad. They did sound bad. A woman called up as requesting a high value man with herpes. That's what she wanted Kevin Samuels to help her find. The gift. Unless the gift meant something else. Yeah, the gift that she couldn't get rid of. Unless it meant something else. I narrowed it down to HIV or herpes. So let's not lose sight of that. Let's not lose sight of that. But yeah, it was looking bad. And that's why, like I said, he's welcome to steal this idea. Not steal this idea. I'm freely giving this idea. Call it the White Knight series. For the men who have strong disagreement with Kevin Samuels, who they want to come up and defend women. Do it like that, because that's what a lot of them did anyway. They didn't really comment on the things that he said about men. They just wanted to come up and argue about some of the previous things that he said about women. Some of them did come up and want to talk about the whole high value, everything. We get that one. We get that one. That's always going to be there. That's always going to be there. It's always going to be a percentage that are going to come up and say, "Hey, well, I don't like some of your tenets on this whole high value thing." That's going to be there regardless. That ain't going nowhere. But if he does a show where he does his regular show where he's talking about women, and in the midst of his regular show where he's regularly talking about women, he opens up the panel, men only. If you disagree with something that I said thus far on this show today or something that I've said about women previously, if you think Kevin Samuels gets it wrong about women, you want to come up and defend women, we're going to call it White Knight Wednesdays that somebody threw out in the chat. We're going to call it White Knight Wednesdays and let the White Knights come up. And then the women who disagree with him, because even though he get a lot of, support, a lot of love from women, a large portion of the women that listen to him disagree with him. That's the reason they can always come up and argue and fight with him. There will never be a shortage of that. So most of the women that call in, yeah, they disagree with him. So women disagree with him. But I think it's a good show if the White Knights come up to defend the women. You're saying that I'm wrong. You're saying that men that talk like me and think like me are wrong. Well, now let's hear from the men who you previously were in line with, not previously in line with, that may not be the right word, but men who share your thought process. Put it like that. Let's hear from the men who shares your thought process so you can see how ridiculous they are, how weak they sound. And this is what you this is how you want the discourse to be. You want more of this? Then I think a point could be made. But doing it the way that he's doing it, he's opening the door for people to be like, for women to be like, and these are the men you think we should be submitting to? No, those are the men who you telling me I need to speak more like. You see the difference right there? So if he does it like that, then I think it will work. And first off, let me make one thing very clear. As I'm sitting, all the way down here on the ground floor with like 7,400 subs. Appreciate everybody. Who the hell am I to tell Kevin Samuels or to even make suggestions on what he should or should not do? I mean, clearly he's doing something right. So let me just put that disclaimer out there. Clearly Kevin Samuels is doing something right. Clearly. So, but that's just my little tweak to arguing with men. I think if he wants to have men up and it actually be a good look, then don't put the qualifier you must disagree to come up. Because most of the men who disagree with him are going to look bad and they're going to sound bad and it's going to make it seem as if it's going to it's going to just optic wise look like a shot in the image, a shot against the image of black men, and or a shot against what he's been saying, because he's been bigging up black men. He's been increasing the value of men, or the value of black men in the mind of black women. At least that's one of the goals, I believe, of his channel. So doing it like that in that way is giving the women an out to say, "Oh, these are the men that you've been telling us so much about." Like that's I could it was a little bit of that going on in those chat rooms, but there's a way to work around that. It's a way to reposition it. Somebody says I'm an honest critic. Well, I always try to be an honest critic. That's why I get upset when somebody misrepresent me or try to pin a narrative on something that I'm saying. I get real annoyed by that because I try to be straight down the middle, honest critic as possible. But I'm not. Hold on. But one pushback is I'm not really criticizing per se, because I like the idea that he's talking to men. I like the idea that men who disagree with him are coming up to fight. I actually like that. I've been wanting that. I've been wanting all of his male critics to come in, and even though I've been wanting all of his male critics to come in and try to go at it with him. I've been definitely wanting that for a while. I've been patiently waiting for it. But there's a certain way you got to go about doing it. The notion that these men here are other. This is not what I've been talking about. These are the men who are not in line with what I think, what I believe. But a lot of them come in, call in, and say that, a lot of them will come in, call in, and say, "Yeah, Kevin, I agree with you on 95% of everything, but here's this disagree." And then, then once they start talking, you be like, "Nah, bro, you disagree on clearly more stuff. You came in with the cape on." That's why I just say just call it the White Knight series, and make the men who defend women against Kevin Samuels talking points. Make the men whose goal is to protect women from the criticism of Kevin Samuels or the criticism of the manosphere. Make those men, those other men, those categorically different types, make them look stupid. Theo in the building with the $25. Appreciate the super chat. He says the men last night on Kevin Samuels were an utter nightmare. Yeah. They was even worse than the night before. On Monday, I could actually take notes because I did some content on it, so I broke down a lot of the discussions. It wasn't even nothing to break down in these ones. I couldn't even do a breakdown. It was nothing there. He says, honestly, cringe. Only single mothers could make such indecisive men. Yeah. It was a lot of that. It was a lot of that. It was bad. It was all bad. It was all bad. Excuse me. It was all bad. But shout out to you, Theo, in the building. In the building. I was ducking in on Kwame Brown, and I heard him say something that's been said in these spaces, but I always say it don't matter who said it first, it don't matter who said it best. I love that it's being said on larger platforms. And one thing that he said is how are black women the most educated and their boys are reading at a fourth grade level. Now I did look up, and I think all of America reads at something like a seventh or eighth grade level. I always try to, whenever somebody throw out a stat, I like to see where everybody is at. And some people say you shouldn't do that because well, we're not talking about everybody else. We're talking about black people. But I still like to look and see where everybody else is at. You got to have some frame of reference. And wherever the average is at in the country, that lets you know just the state of the country or culture as a whole. So you do got to look at it. You know, when they say black women, I'm not going to say when they say the stats, the facts are black women are at a 56 or 57% obesity rate. The first thing I want to do is look and see, okay, where's everybody else at? Because if white women were at 53 and Hispanic and Latino women were at 52 and Asian women were at 50, I can just say, okay, it's kind of just the state of America. That's just the American condition. We all a bunch of fat people. But when you look and you see that no, everybody else when it comes to obesity is more or less, you know, in the high to mid 30s, and black women are, you know, teetering in near the high 50s. It's like, hold on. You can look right there and see that there's a clear difference, but there isn't as much of a clear difference when it comes to overweight, with black women being at something like 80% and everybody else around 70. You know, it's closer when it comes to overweight, but it gets out of control when it comes to obese. Put it like that. That's the simple point that I'm making. So you can look at that obesity rate and say, yeah, there's something there. It's something to be said there. But I did like that Kwame Brown did point out to black women who are supposedly the most educated, their children read at a fourth grade level. That makes no sense. Asian women who are technically the most educated, who are literally the most educated, if not Asian men, they like neck and neck. Lo and behold, their children are doing better, are reading at the highest level. But the mean, medium, average, whatever the hell, when it comes to reading in this country is seventh or eighth grade level. M. Stewart says the percentage has gone down from 80 to 75. That's good. Since when? Since when? Give me links. Give me links. Says I read at university level in Japanese. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. But no. Things are wild. Oh, I gotta not pay attention to. Yeah, I gotta not pay attention to that. I'm looking at something that I probably need not look at. That's very distracting on this fine morning. Give me 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. See, that's why one part of the reason why I prefer to be on camera when I'm doing stuff like this. Y'all can see me doing it and then can understand why there's dead air. When you're off camera, you don't want any dead air. Sun is hot, raw in the building. Shout out to you. Theo definitely dates white women. You can't be spitting game in Japanese to these broads. I'm not really concerned about AMC. AMC is going to bounce around and do what it do, and it's like whatever. I don't care. It's that's where I'm at with AMC. It's going to fluctuate up and down until the short squeeze happens, and then it's going to go high. It's all a matter of when the people who are betting against it decides that, hey, we lost, and they got to sell. They're going to make the stock go up into the moon. So I'm just waiting around chilling for that, and who knows when that's going to happen. But right now, I got something in there I'm holding. I ain't selling, and it's just sitting there, and it's chilling, and it's going to chill. But I got some other money invested somewhere else that's not doing good, a smaller amount, but still not doing good. I'm keeping an eye on that, and it was a bad move. It was a bad move, at least thus far. At least thus far. So I don't know if I should just go ahead and ride the wheels off of it, or just hang in there and see what happens. Dig Thug in the building with the $20.
I want 150,000. So we can start out of court right now for $20.
Man, get your
Appreciate you, Dig Thug. He says, I want to put this out there for my homeboy. He tried to take his life this weekend. His girl took everything from him. House, vehicles, kids, money, etc. He said he should have came to this space sooner. He is done with black women. If you would have said, well, first off, condolences to him. But if you would have said he got his car scratched up, a brick thrown to his window, and she came up to his job and flipped over all the copy machines and slapped his boss in the face, and then I would understand you're done with black women. But everything that you stated right there, yeah, other women are pretty proficient at taking somebody for the house, the vehicles, kids, and money in divorce court. Other women are pretty damn proficient at that. But damn. Condolences. Definitely condolences. Hopefully that he is okay and he gets the help that he needs and does not take his life. Hopefully he gets the help that he needs. But that is legitimately a sad state of affairs. I'm not the praying type, but JR says our prayers are with him. Our thoughts and prayers are with him. I don't know why people say thoughts and prayers, because thoughts never really helped anybody, and I can make a case that prayer is neutral at best. But either way, man, yeah, that's no sad story. Sad story, real talk. No jokes. Hopefully he gets the help that he needs. And if he's your friend, make sure you be there for him and support him and do what you got to do to pick the brother up as well. Make sure you do what you got to do. Yeah. Speaking of picking brothers up, O'Shea did a really good video talking about Obsidian's book and how it's doing really well. How it did really well after that Kevin Samuels promotion, and it bumped him up to number one in his category. It bumped him up to number one in his category. And then, of course, whenever somebody bumps up to number one, it's hard to stay there. So he eventually, dropped down some. And then O'Shea did a video talking about Kevin Samuels giving him this shout out. And then it bumped him all the way back up, almost back up to number one. It was like almost back up in the top 5 after O'Shea did the same thing. And shout out to Obsidian, who I see in the building. And Obsidian has always talked about brothers working together. One thing that Obsidian used to do is that he would highlight the mere fact that Hafez and the roommates and Stefan Labossiere, how they work together. The Stefan Labossiere pulled up in his, I forgot what kind of car that was. Wasn't a Lambo. It was something else. I forgot what it was. But anyway, he pulled up in that car. They rode around in the car for a little bit, and they talked about how they helped each other out. And Obsidian's always said, when our brothers are going to be doing that. Oh, Rolls Royce. Okay, thank you, Pete. Obsidian's always say that, when our brothers in the manosphere are going to work together like that. And I used to say, they do, but it is a matter of scale. And I think what was needed is for one person to essentially blow up the way that Kevin Samuels has. And then O'Shea, in his own right, has blown up, not to the degree of Kevin Samuels, but has definitely blown up quite a bit. Blown up a lot. And Obsidian being tight with him, when they raise up, he's risen up. His book has got 2 extreme endorsements. That catapulted it to number 1. Then after it sat there for a little bit and dropped back down, he got another one that catapulted him back up again. That's Black men working together. Black men working together. Not beefing, not fighting, working together. Something that Obsidian always talked about. But I always said it's a matter of scale, If we all have small channels, then yeah, we can promote each other. But when somebody's a whale, as they say in stock market terms, when somebody's a whale, Kevin Samuels would be a whale. The whale is somebody who, comes and drops $1 million or so on a stock. And then the stock shoots up from that much, somebody buying that many shares at one time. A whale will make a stock go up to the moon. That's ultimately what Kevin Samuels is in terms of that. I wouldn't be surprised if Charles Faulkner has picked up a lot of subs from Kevin Samuels, because when Kevin Samuels was given a presentation, basically essentially talking about how martial arts, how men should take various martial arts. Kevin Samuels talking about how he can handle himself against X number of guys or blah, 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 this or that. And then he mentioned Charles Faulkner, how that's somebody who, in terms of size wise, no, he don't want to, he'll be disadvantaged fighting Officer Faulkner in the alley. Maybe he got a chance in open field, maybe. But he had shouted out, Officer Faulkner so many times. I wouldn't be surprised Officer Faulkner isn't picking up subs from that. People that have stood by him have definitely picked up subs and have definitely benefited. And yeah, what Kevin Samuels and O'Shea did for Obsidian's book, like that's just tremendous. That is just absolutely positively tremendous. Like I can't say enough about that. Can't say enough about that. So that's definitely a good thing. Definitely a good thing. Going back to what I was talking about the excommunicated thing. In pro-black circles, coming to the conclusion that for holy shit, that for women there are no impeachable offenses. There are none. There are none. I did not see, and I'm probably not going to watch it. I did not see the conversation. I'm just going based off O'Shea's description of it. I'm just going off O'Shea's description of it and Edward Anderson's description of it. That a white man calls into a show and takes a wholesale defecates on black men, and the black female host is just smiling, giggling in agreement with it, happy go lucky about it. The mere fact that she would still be welcomed in pro-black circles, the mere fact that nobody's going to bat an eye or look at that as, or even if they bat an eye, even if they bat an eye, it's still not going to be a change. It's going to be okay. There's no impeachable offenses. She's allowed to be as, as anti-black male as possible. Somebody said, "What did the white man say?" Her talking points. He said her talking points. And I think if I understand it right, he even pandered and said that and they're the most, and you guys are the most educated, and don't get no help from you guys. From it said basically he kissed their ass and then and took a crap on black men. Well, that's news to me. If she says she ain't pro black, that's news to me. See, I caught like there with Game Changer saying they are not pro black. I agree with you that a lot of the people that wear the title of pro black and will cape for behaviors that are so fundamentally against black people's well-being. How can they be pro-black? I understand from that perspective, but no, I'm accepting the titles that they pin on themselves, that they claim that they wear. If they wear the brand pro-black, black first, whatever, if somebody wears that, then I generally accept. Got to accept their definitions. Everybody who I know who wears the title pro-black, they will defend the drug dealer, they will defend the criminal, they will defend all kinds of horrible actions that black people will commit against black people. So me and you can have a talk, Game Changer, and say no, they're not pro-black. Me and you can have a talk, Game Changer, and say that no, actually, me and Game Changer are the ones that are pro-black. We can we can make a good case that we're more pro-black than them. We really can. And I'm not even just talking about that sector. I'm talking in general, people who claim the title pro-black. As I always said, the way I see it, with most of what they do a lot of complaining about white people and then spraying cologne and perfume over all the feces in the black community, the stench that comes out of the black community. They try to spray perfume and cologne over it. I have seen her content. Ms. Bernard, you clearly have not seen her content. Ugh. If you put her content in a bubble, okay, you can probably make the case that you're making. But what circles is she accepted in? I'm sure you would say that Nyla is pro-black, Taz is pro-black. They all A Spoon Coons. They in the same group, in the same clique. So you can't really divorce her from it. I don't think you could divorce her from that. That she's teaming up with Pink Pill Swirl Time. That's allowed. That's allowed. That's allowed as well. That's what I'm saying. There are no impeachable offenses. There are no impeachable offenses. Leo Anthony says, no, there are not. No, they are not, Bernard. They're fake pro-blacks and failed swirlers. Give me a definition. Look at what most people who claim the title pro-black and how they define it. I'm talking about most people. I'm not talking about the exceptions. I can make a case that David Carroll is pro-black. I'm talking about most people who claim the title pro-black and how they define it. Tell me how these people who you're saying are not pro-black, how they how do you make that distinction? Brother Pete in the building says, so have you guys heard people say that if you're not pro-black woman, then you're not pro-black? I think that's to be one position. Shout out to Psychopathies. It says, I literally just addressed this claim last night that you can't be pro-black by association. I will give that a listen. Says it means for black people. It's not rocket science. Okay, but if I go by that definition, the individuals in question here, are they not for black people? I mean, yes, there's some inherent contradictions, in my opinion, but the individuals in question, are they not for black people? Shout out to Edward Anderson. Her points are based on the idea of having a competitive black community that gives her credibility amongst her audience. She claims pro black. Knock it the F off. I think Ed is in agreement with me, even though that was kind of, yeah. Her points are based off the idea of having a competitive black community. That is true. This gives her credibility amongst her audience. She claims pro-black, knock it off. That's so. I think you're in agreement with me that people are trying to divorce her from it, but I don't know if they can effectively do that. I don't know if they can effectively do that. Finding a contradiction in somebody's position does not mean that they don't have the title that they claim. Like Edward Anderson says, and being pro-black woman is defined by kissing black women's asses. No thanks. Yeah, it's okay. So Ed is in agreement with me. Yep. I have not checked on or looked at the likes at all, but shout out to Gail Lockett. Says there are 251 people in the building and only 110 on the likes. Let's get that up. I haven't been looking at the likes at all. I've been boiling. Haven't been telling y'all to hit the like button, so I know a lot of y'all probably forgot to do it. So go ahead and get that in. Game Changer 00100 got his channel back. Salute, shout out, and definitely congratulations on that. Oh, and he also put 5 on it. He said black women are only encourage dating habits, and black men are only, I don't know what that PB mating habits. I don't know. Okay, I'm confused. Black women only encourage PB dating habits. PB. Somebody tell me what that PB stands for. And black men are only PB mating habits. Somebody explain that to me, PB. Yeah, Psycho, I'm about to open it up. I do want Ed in Game Changer on it. Hold on. I'll open this bad boy up. Let's go ahead and get it started. All right, link in the chat. Now, I don't think PB means peanut butter. I don't know peanut butter mating habits. No, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. All right. We got. Hold on. Let me make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure I can hear you. All right. Got Psycho Patheas in the building. What's going on? Oh, you on mute. You are still on mute. Oh wait,
my fault. Bernard, I was getting myself together. What's good? What's going on? How you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for coming on up. Now you said you want to debunk the notion that Sinji is pro-black. Now, just to be sure, are you talking about that whole sector over there, or are you just narrowly focusing it on
I'm
her?
keeping it on Cynthia G. That's what I'm keeping it on. Because that's who the the focus of the topic is Cynthia, right? Because she's the one who had the white dude on the panel talking crazy about black men. So I want to keep it on that. And ultimately, I just did a stream last night just addressing all this and explaining how a lot of people throw Cynthia in the pro-black box via her association with other people that call themselves B1 or pro-black, because she's associated with a lot of them. But that would be flawed logic, because being associated with somebody does not mean you share their same ideologies, right? Like, I'm an atheist, but I'm closely associated with a lot of Hebrews, a lot of Muslims, a lot of Aboriginal people that think they Indians. I'm associated with a lot of these people, but none of these people that I'm associated with will tell you I'm a Bible believer. None of them will tell you I make salat or I practice Ramadan. None of these people will tell you I believe slavery is fake. None of these people will tell you these things because I'm just solely because I'm associated with them. So being associated with somebody, because I'm sure you're associated with a lot of people that you don't agree with everything that they believe, that you don't agree with everything they talk about, but you're associated with them because they might be manosphere. So therefore, y'all have that connection as far as being manosphere, but other ideologies y'all might separate.
Okay, well, what connection then does she have with them, with pro-blacks then?
Well, they don't like y'all. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. The same association, the only association they have with the pink pills and all these other people and everything else, they don't like y'all. Like, they don't like y'all, so they go and they listen and everything else, all this stuff, and they'll adopt some of the talking points that supports their narrative, but that don't make them that just because they support some of these talking points that might push back against some of the things that y'all say.
Okay, so pro-black is not. I'm not saying you're saying this. I just want to make this clear. Pro-black is not anti-man.
You're jumping the line, brother. You're jumping the line.
Technically, that's right. I did bring up Game Changer first, so go ahead, Game Changer.
Okay, so pro-black, PB actually stands for pro-black. I just want to point out that there is a such thing as peanut butter sex. Don't do it. But yeah, what I was saying in the super chat was that black women only support pro-black dating habits, and black men are only supporting pro-black mating habits. You see, pro-black for far too many black men who claim the title is really just a mating call to black women. Black women are extraordinarily intimidated by white women and Latin women and Oriental women and Southeast Asian women and Aboriginal women and actual other black women of different ethnicities. They're pretty much intimidated by any person on the planet because they're in last place as far as desirability goes. So what they want to hear a man say is that he exclusively dates black women, because that eliminates like almost 99% of the global population, as competition, and they feel they have a chance. Black men understand this, and they use this as a mating call. They will say, I'm pro-black, I'm pro-black, I'm pro-black. Yes, I do sell drugs to destroy the black community. However, I'm still pro-black somehow. They don't care. They just want to hear that. And yeah, the women are just encouraging the men to say that. Now, what I found in pro-black circles is that there aren't really, and I'm not talking about like online, I'm talking about in real life as well. There aren't any black couples in it. Pro-black, what I do see is quote unquote pro-black men peacocking in an attempt to gain access to the quote unquote pro-black women, both of whom show up to, events. And these events, and trust me, I'm just coming from one of these events on Juneteenth. These events aren't really events. These events are where people just gather together to sell you incense and slushies. It's kind of like a flea market to celebrate freedom. So they gather together.
What kind of events you talking about? You talking about like I mean, where I'm from, we got something called a Black Arts Festival. Like, you talking about stuff like that? Like,
yeah, I'm talking about everything like that. Okay. Anything with the word black in it, it's always going to be somebody trying to sell you crap you don't need. You know, whether it's shiny rocks or incense or, you know, lotions, it's all pretty much the same crap. And that's from coast to coast. It's all pretty much the same crap. And when you go to these events, you will see a lot of single, quote unquote, pro-black people unwilling to fuck each other. This is not a coincidence. This is just a place to where it's a belief system to give Black women a surplus of Black men when their attempts at Kevin Samuels fail.
All right.
Okay, so the title of the show is "What does it take for Black women to be disowned by Black men?" The Cynthia G is not really the Cynthia G argument kind of took it, but you know, because she's one of the ones that prompted O'Shea to make the video, which prompted me to respond to O'Shea with the bigger point, because I didn't look at it either. I looked at the bigger point that I made was that and I'm glad you brought up Fantastic, because O'Shea knows Fantastic because of the Rumble. You look at how Fantastic caught the heat he caught, and then how Cynthia G caught the disclaimer, because that's actually something I did not reference in my video. As far as like, I might have kind of mentioned Fantastic, but not in that context. So I'm glad you brought that up. So it kind of became about Cynthia G, then became about a commentary on pro-Black. I get what you're trying to say, Psycho, but you got to understand is Cynthia G presents herself as pro-Black to give her. I don't believe she's fucking pro-Black. But she presents herself as that to give her what she says about Black men more potency and more credibility. And the fact that people that are quote unquote that she associates with does not check her, and is really why I'm very broad as I am about the Black community, because a lot of folks will this is the point of my video actually, is that people that will say, because O'Shea says he's pro-Black, and shout out to O'Shea, but O'Shea will say he's pro-Black, yet because Cynthia G is a Black woman, she is not held to the same kind of level of accountability that people that are quote-unquote supposed to be pro-Black are. She gets a pass because she's a bitch, and I'm just going to say it just like that. And this is where all these little disclaimers come in, because people are so afraid of being seen as anti-woman. Now, and I'm not going to go gave my whole video, because I gave all the disclaimers as far as I understand the business of YouTube. Why this just a video, just commenting on it. But my thing is, and this is where her associations do matter, because like, even though Tariq Nasheed roasted her, Tariq Nasheed and Boyce Watkins are Tariq Nasheed and Boyce Watkins are pretty much the three guys that are responsible for Cynthia G being who she is today. Now, we can make an argument that people kind of reinvigorated her once she got shut down, but the reality is they are responsible. Now, granted, she was talking about white men at that time, which I find ironic that she goes from talking about white men to now having a white man validate and she cuckoo. At the end of the day, Cynthia G will say anything she needs to say to make money. That's what she doesn't have a real life outside of YouTube. She's literally the quintessential definition of somebody on YouTube making money with zero credibility outside of it. So I say that to say this is it's important because she leverages her association.
Shit, we lost you.
You think if you ask Cynthia G is she pro-Black, you think she'll say no, she's not?
Yeah, she will. She said it already. This is what I was trying to say in the chat. She's
made the very first time.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the very first time she said it.
Because I've heard her say real quick. Go ahead.
No, wait, let me finish. The very first time she said this was way back in like 2018, like the beginning of 2018. This is like before Taz and Nala. No, I'm saying this before Taz and Nala was around. It was long enough, but that they wasn't around. They was still over, I think, on Facebook and everything else. They wasn't here when Cynthia G first made the claim that she was not pro-Black, because she said this, and she said this when people was killing her about how are you pro-Black and you wearing this white weave. You wearing this white European weave and everything else. And she got tired of hearing that. And then she said, I never claimed to be pro-Black. She made a whole
That's a lie.
video.
That's
She
a
made a
lie.
whole
Yes, she
video.
did. She's a liar.
I'm telling you what she
She's
said.
a liar.
I'm just telling you what she said.
I get what she said. She was on, but look, she was on Voice Watchers, didn't have her ass on there as a claim. And I get that was way back before that. So I'll give you that as far as the argument you're making. But Voice Watchers did not have her on there, and she was anti-black. So that's bullshit.
No, I'm not
Serena
saying she was.
did not have her.
I agree.
And that's why I'm
They
giving. That's why I'm
promoted her.
giving you
They
that.
promoted her.
That.
Right. They promoted her feeling like she was pro-black. A lot of people felt like she was pro-black in the beginning. But
okay,
like I said last night, this is the same thing, right? Like she got a little bit of money, a little bit of change,
right.
doing what she was doing, which is attacking black men, because we know that's a big market. She saw where the money was at, and the money made her more of what she already was, because that's what money does. Money don't change people. It makes you more than what you already is, and that's what she's been a coon.
All right, so Psycho, here, So Psycho, hear me out. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give you all of it. I'm putting all the chips. You know what? You're right. I'm gonna give you the whole argument. Because you know what that does? That shit only reinforces what I said in my video. This because if you heard any of what I said in my video, Bernard, it was really a commentary on how black men give black women a pass, because black men have an inability to truly really diagnose black women. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Black men have an incapability of really telling the difference between good black women and bad black women. And as far as I'm concerned, you cannot protect good black women if you cannot identify bad. Because if the bad black women are going after the good black women, which is what I think Pick Me is the new nigger lover is, then you have no ability to protect them. And then how can you expect to have a community when you can't even lead on that front? So all you do, Psycho, right now is you're reinforcing my argument. You're reinforcing that we're going to go all the way back and say she was never really pro-black. This goes to tell you a lot about Boyce Watkins. It tells you a lot about Tarina Sheed. Which, by the way, and I fuck with Tarina Sheed, but Tarina Sheed has a history of doing this. That chick that liked white dudes when it was on his show, the Ism show, the Sarah J person that Cynthia G told to put a Me Too case on Tariq, and she was trying to. Like all of this, all going back to when she gave that white dude that information, it got the cops called on Tariq. All of this stuff, exactly. I brought all that stuff up, and all you're doing is reinforcing. It is really a commentary on an indictment on black men, because my thing is, if she can get this kind of pass, what does it take to be disowned by? What does a black woman have to do?
To be fair, Boyce Watkins don't mess with Cynthia G no more. To be
fair,
exactly. That's my point. So that you already answered your question. She did what it took for her to get excommunicated. They excommunicated. I don't mess with her. Like pro blacks have excommunicated.
They don't. No. I'm talking about because she speaks on black issues, and quite frankly, they don't go out like. Let's be clear here. Look at what. Look at what Boyce has done with Kevin.
I got a question to ask you, Edward. When was the last time you heard her mention white supremacy outside of weaponizing it?
I don't listen.
Real quick.
Dude, I don't listen to her, so I can't answer that. I don't listen to her.
Calm down. It's an open question to anybody. Anybody. When was the last time y'all heard Cynthia G mention white supremacy independent of weaponizing it against black men? Because that's the only time she talks about white supremacy.
Look, we gave you the argument. She's not pro-black and she hasn't been seduced. So we gave you all of that. So talking about relitigating her being pro-black is irrelevant. We already said you win that. I'm giving you that. I'm not even arguing that because your argument is good and it reinforces what I've been saying. So it's no point even answering that. We're giving you that she hasn't been pro-black for years. So now my thing is that I always say, why the fuck does anybody listen to her? And I'm going on what you dumbass motherfuckers that always listen to her tell me, which is she got some good talking points. I'm talking about audience. I'm talking about anybody that listens to her. We know none of y'all listen to her like that. I'm talking about anybody that is an actual fan. I'm not talking about people that listen to her to respond. I'm talking about people that actually subscribe to her and give her super chats, particularly black men. But I get women want red meat, and they own what they own. But black men, and I've had arguments with Amiri Brown and other people. Well, and even O'Shea said this. O'Shea's not a fan of Cynthia, obviously. but she got some good talking points. Well, if you're talking about people that are pro-black, why would a pro-black person say, well, she got some good talking points? You see what I'm saying? Giving her validity. So my point is, this is what I'm getting from everybody else as to why they listen to her, and I don't listen to her, which is why, oh, well, she's pro-black, she cares about the black community. So based on what you're saying, and you're giving an informed opinion on that, which is why I'm giving it to you, all these other people that listen to her, particularly black men, you all are what I thought you were, which are pieces of shit and weak as fuck.
Can I ask a question? Why everybody only focus on the pro-black talking points that she may use, and nobody focuses on the manosphere talking points that she used? Because she uses a lot of manosphere talking points when she's addressing the Pookies and the Ray Rays and the Dusties and all that. Wait, real quick, because I will hear manosphere people say she's right about the Dusties. She's right about the Dusties and all this other stuff and everything else. This, that, and the third. Y'all share a lot of views, more views than y'all would like to admit. But nobody highlights this. Nobody highlights these views.
Wait, hold on, Psycho. Okay. No. What you? I understand what you're saying, and I tell people all the time they're wrong as hell when they try to say that. Oh yeah, she's right when she's saying about the Dusties. No, she's not, because in her mind, every black man is. So
number one and number two, she had a kid with that. So look, Cynthia G. What? No. What original thought? I got a question.
Real quick, black men in the manosphere shouldn't concede none of her points. I agree with Ed on that.
Which is something I said. Go ahead.
No, I agree. No, I just said I agree with you on that. None of her points should be conceded, and I think that people make a mistake when they do that, because when you follow her logic all the way home, she's talking about everybody. She's on record.
She has actually said that. She said, I believe the majority of black men are lowlifes. That's number one. Number two,
she's on record saying that the bummy, dirtiest, dingiest white guy, Domino's pizza delivery boy in his mama's basement, got more status and power than Robert Smith. Like she thinks that
she's
low.
Also had a kid.
She thinks that low of black men. So
she had a kid, and despite that, she had a kid with that type of person.
Okay, so I agree that none of her points should be conceded. However, when you talk about, I guess the question for Psycho, even though Psycho did make a good point, and I've noticed this a while ago, the only time she talk about white supremacy when she's trying to weaponize it against black men, what black men not doing to defeat it or whatever. The question is, why is she accepted and entertained, or the whole there's sectors of pro-blackness that she's just fine moving around in, even though she only talk about white supremacy when it is to weaponize against black men. And so I guess the question is, why is that okay?
Once again, because the pro-black movement is about black women dating habits and black men mating habits. It's not about actually uplifting black people. The black men that psychopatheists talk about that are over there because they think that by agreeing with black women, being agreeable with them, that they will get a piece. And the black women feel that by speaking this narrative, they will encourage black men to behave that way so they can become beta male orbiters for when they eventually want it later in life. Right. Period.
Now,
black women almost always.
Hold your thoughts, Psycho. A metaphorical tactic in the building with the super chat. He said it doesn't matter if she's pro-black or not. So-called pro-black men will either support her or pretend that she doesn't exist and that she's not doing what she's doing. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it.
Let's be clear here. When you look at the criticism that Kevin Samuels has gotten,
real quick, I got like 5 super chats on the board. Shout out to Snuggles.
All right,
it sounds the same concept as Mike Rashid talking to Fresh and Fit. The flip flop depends on what is going on, or did I get it wrong? Yeah, I think you got it wrong. At least I'm not even making the connection with Fresh and Fit and Mike Rashid. I don't know where you're going or what you're doing. Damn, the chat can't be moving that fast. I can't even find this damn super chats. How did it move that fast? All right. No, Psycho was about to respond to something. You got next, Ed, I promise. But I want to say, I think I said something, or somebody said something Psycho was about to respond to. And
I was just going to say, yes, you have pro-black simps out here. You know, a lot of these black women is God, dudes are that's a you know a simp perception, right? That's that whole line of saying the black woman is God, in my humble opinion, is pro-black simpery. I've spoken on that as well. That's why you'll never hear me call black women God or anybody else God, because again, I'm an atheist. I don't subscribe to the whole God concept. So I don't do all this black woman worship. I respect black women that respect me. Now, she obviously don't respect black men, so therefore she will never get my respect. And nobody and no people that follow her will have my respect, because I know they too do not respect black men, because there's no way you could absorb that type of toxic rhetoric and try to convince me that you have love for black men. That's bullshit, right? So let's get that clear.
Why don't you think more
real quick, let me finish though.
Go ahead.
But you have simps in every sector. You got manosphere simps. Y'all got simps all around here.
Uh-oh.
Let's talk about that for a second. Because let me say, because these manosphere simps will sit up here and call in her show every single time she goes live on acting just like these desperate females that call Kevin Samuels every show. And if these dudes stop calling in her show, maybe she will start falling by the wayside. But these manosphere dudes want to keep trying to validate themselves to her on some pick-me shit, trying to validate themselves, trying to debunk her little silly ass nonsense when she should just be ignored. She should just be ignored, but the mainstream won't ignore her.
So
okay, we're not arguing with that.
Right quick, please. Edward, if I could
It
respond
was
right
a
quick.
good question.
This argument is really getting on my nerves, man.
All right, hold on. I said Ed had next no matter what.
Go for it.
Because we're talking about a couple of different fucking things. Fuck pro-black, fuck the manosphere. We're talking about black men listening to any of this shit on YouTube. Because the truth is, a lot of that pro-black versus manosphere, number one, look, and I'm not trying to, because I don't want to really deal with these motherfuckers, because they're like fucking, I'm not even going to say it, but the B1 network is not pro-black. So we need to get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I'm not going to sit there and associate that with pro-black. If we're going to start critiquing motherfuckers, we're going to critique motherfuckers like where it is. You know, that's number one. And so if that's the cabal that is associated with for pro-black, that don't count. So I'm not even holding that on pro-black. As far as the manosphere, I don't disagree with you, Psycho. I don't. But my thing is, we keep on trying to make it a pro-black versus the manosphere. No, we're talking about fucking black men in particular. That my question was not really for black women. My question really was for black men. And I don't care if they're in the manosphere or pro-black. I give to you again. I would tell you more of them are in the manosphere that are pro-black, that are listening to her at this point, which gives you about the excommunicated. I did not say, what does it take for pro-blacks to excommunicate her? I said, what does it take for black people as a whole? Because if you look at, like, for example, Candace Owens, most black people do not, they don't see Candace Owens as one of them for a variety of reasons. And you look at, like, how she's criticized versus you look how Cynthia G is criticized. Cynthia G, I'll ask you this, Psycho. Is Cynthia G, who you think is criticized harder, whether it's pro-black or the manosphere? Do you think Cynthia G is critiqued harder or Candace Owens?
Candace Owens.
And, is it even, close? It's pretty
Candace
easy
Owens
question.
Well, she's bigger than Cynthia G, but even if they was the same size, Candace Owens probably still would be getting critiqued more.
Remember, Cynthia has 75,000, so I'll leave it there. But that's really what my commentary is. My commentary, because if Cynthia G is like the furthest you can go, and we still haven't hit like rock bottom or the point of no return, then I was on one that day. I was like, yo, what can you do? I don't know what you can do. Now, people will say Candace Owens, but technically Candace Owens ain't ADOS like that. So that's the path people like to try to give also. So
to be fair about the Candace Cynthia comparison, Cynthia is gender specific when she attacks black people. Candace Owens just attacks black people, period. That's a wide, she has a wider base to attack her than Cynthia, who just, she only attacks half of the
which I'm glad you said that. Because that may be why Cynthia gets a pass. You may have uncovered why Cynthia gets a pass. And that's an indictment on black men also. I'll cede it for right now. I know, let Game Changer get in. But anyway, I just wanted to realign that.
Well, let me ask this question before I pass the Game Changer. Do black manosphere people of note actually call into her show? or just random nameless, faceless chat room dudes that got?
I don't know
similar-
none of these guys that I've ever heard. I don't listen to everything she does moving. I've heard the last couple ones she did because of this whole white man thing and everything else that blew up. So I went and listened to those, and I heard black men who was manosphere, who was defending, the manosphere. They were saying, manosphere stuff and everything else, and they was trying to validate themselves to Cynthia. Now I don't know who these people are. They could just be random chat people, whatever.
It ain't like content creators.
I don't like when the chat room D team go to calling in trying to argue on behalf. And
I want to ask a quick question to Psycho and the Game Changer. It's gonna be a quick question. Don't even need elaboration. So Game Changer can go. And this is gonna be controversial, but I'm about to say how retarded you niggas are right here. Not YouTube, but like the manosphere. Who you think get more pushback in the manosphere? We're talking just the manosphere. Cynthia G or Jessica X? Who you think you hear more motherfuckers cocooing about and crying about? That's the thought. The fact that y'all gotta think about it screams loudly to me.
I can't speak on that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I was
Game Changer. I know
I just assumed it was a rhetorical question, but
no, it's not. I'm asking.
Probably Jessica X. Not that her rhetoric is more inflammatory. It's just that the manosphere altogether is just ignoring Cynthia G. For the most part, unless
not really.
Like something
You're always
like this
talking
happens.
about Cynthia G.
Say that again.
Somebody's always talking about Cynthia G. I mean, the manosphere arguably ignores Kerrison for the most part, outside of what just happened with the thing with the marriage that you covered in some. But Cynthia G, somebody's always talking about what she said, what she did. Hell, I've talked about. I don't put her name in my stuff, but she's always in the sphere. Like I don't. And then another thing too is Cynthia G has 75,000 subscribers. I didn't know she had that until somebody told me to check it. And I know out of that subscribership, at least 10,000 to 15 are black men. I would argue that Cynthia G probably has more black male subscribers than Jessica X. And I can tell you she gets arguably similar amounts of money. That's insane to me.
I don't know if she got more black male followers, but she got a lot.
Well, she got 75.
If I could say this,
go ahead.
I don't want, we shouldn't really get caught up in a title. The same way that Federal Express don't really have anything to do with the federal government, but it's named that for a reason, and that's in order to, it's a marketing ploy. So is the whole Black First thing. It's a marketing ploy. It's just a way to sell you incense, lotions, and crap you don't need, and black pussy that generally
cash apps.
Yeah, and black pussy that people generally don't want.
Okay,
or the possibility of it. I don't think that we should actually even expect it to be a.
I don't care about the title though.
I'm looking at the numbers. I'm sorry.
I'm looking at the numbers. The point is, when I ask these niggas, why the fuck?
So the numbers just show that it's an effective marketing ploy. It's an effective marketing ploy, but
she doesn't claim pro-black though.
Well, she did at one point. She got her foot in the door by claiming pro-black. There was a time when she was all about albinoid and calling white people the C word.
I remember that.
And Neanderthal. So once again, that was the mask that she put it under. She basically, now, once again, she actually just did that. She really didn't have the hatred for white people that she claimed that she had. All it was a mating ploy, is to instill the concept of black unity amongst black men in order for her to create a surplus of beta male orbiters. Beta male orbiters is really what black women ultimately fall back on. Their mating habit consists of seeking an alpha of any type in their years, winding up on the carousel, and then later in life marrying their beta male orbiters. If it were not for beta male orbiters, black women will never get married ever. So
the very beta male coons that she talked about, interesting.
Yeah, well, they become cones when they don't orbit. And that's
Have you ever heard Cynthia say anything positive about black men? You or Psycho?
Well, no. However, she
not
don't
top of my head,
necessarily
no.
have to, because what happens is the black man feels that if they share, and this is beta male thinking, if they share her point of view, then they will get in. You see, that's why it's all about the orbiters. Now, what winds up happening with women like Cynthia G as they approach 40 is that they start to worry about the amount of orbiters that they have and how successful they are at garnering them, because they're saving them. They're creating a surplus. So, when things don't work out with the, alpha thug or alpha educated lame or alpha white guy, even when things don't work out with them, they will have these orbiters. It's not really effective in Cynthia G's case. Primarily speaking, not that she can't get a beta male orbiter. Shout out to the brother from Baltimore. Not that she can't get a beta male orbiter. It's that she don't respect them enough to stay with them. So as a result of that, she's going to find herself ultimately alone and miserable. And what you're seeing online is her expressing that misery. So Third Ward Colombian said beta male orbiters equal lead with your wallet first nagagas. Actually, beta male orbiters are men that don't have a wallet to lead with.
I about to say, how's that possible when the manosphere always talk about leading with the wallet? That ain't pro-blacks who talk that. That's
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Once again, I mean, beta male orbiters are men without a wallet to lead with, or decent looks to lead with. Right. Or charisma to lead with, or really anything to lead with. See, the thing is, Third Ward Columbia, is you can't really put beta male and lead in the same sentence. If you are a beta male, you have nothing to lead with.
The problem is you kind of taking this in a direction is kind of muddy.
You bored, Ed? You bored? Shout out to Sick Lid, though, said since you is a black hole of the manosphere, without her, the universe would not exist. Thank you for the super chat.
I mean, can we keep it a buck? I mean, she's the yang to y'all yin. I mean, she is like, she's the other side of the coin. I mean, y'all need her just like she needs y'all.
Like even
she needs
like
y'all and y'all need her.
Has all like Cynthia G has done some really devil shit to Tariq Nasheed, like for real. And Tariq Nasheed has really given her a pass compared to a lot of people. And I mean, shit, Tommy ain't done it. Like real talk, and y'all know how I feel about Tommy Sotomayor. Tommy has not done nothing nowhere near what fucking Cynthia G has done. And my biggest point to this is really not about making this personal any dude. It's really about highlighting, because the dudes I'm talking about are not beta males, by the way. It's the blind spot that even in extreme cases that people have towards her. Like, honestly, any black man that listens to her, like real, because you got dudes that real defend listening to her, and they always start about, well, she got some good talking point. Look, man, there's people that I cannot agree with that I could let you have that. There's people, but like, I'm not trying to say that she's operating like a hate situation over there, but like real talk, if we would have talked like her, motherfucker, we would be turned off.
It's a hate operation. You correct. I'm not going.
We would be turned off. It would be hate speech. Like straight. I'm gonna tell you.
I agree with that.
A lot of these dudes get flagged down, like Roger, Game Chat. I'm telling you, it be niggas that be doing that shit. It ain't all women.
I agree with that, but yeah, I was just saying you had bogged out, but I was just saying that yes, but y'all need Cynthia G same way Cynthia G needs y'all. Y'all, it's the yin and the yang thing. You need the opposite side of the coin. Yeah. If it ain't Cynthia, it'd be somebody else. She just so happens to be the poster child right now. But if you take down the Cynthia G poster, it'll just be a new poster that get pinned up right behind.
Everybody hasn't built their channels off of that. Like certain people, certain people have built their channels off of that, but certain people, like, it's only a couple of channels that really build it off of other people like that. You don't really see folks talk about Chrissy, Paris Milan, and all these people like that. We've kind of gotten past that. And earlier in 2.0, that was true. But that's not true now.
So you can't say so you can't say people didn't build their channel up off that just because they're not doing it now.
But it's only like a couple of people that did that. It's only like a couple of people that really did that.
A couple?
Yeah, a couple.
But built the whole channel off of it? I can't say that.
Being dishonest.
No, I honestly don't know. I mean, you have to name names of somebody who built their channel.
I'm not trying to name names. I'm really not trying to start.
There are people who has responded to some of her arguments, but I don't think nobody just full blown.
No, I ain't saying built their channel up solely off responding to Cynthia. I'm just saying attacking female talking points is what I'm saying. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But we can attack female talking points without applying it to a particular person.
But
that's
no,
why for the most part, like, hold on. Up until recently,
you need that. And let me give you an example. Let me give you an example why. Let me give you an example how you need that, right? Like, I don't speak on all this gender stuff and everything else. I speak on other things, right? And one of the things I like to talk about is the pathology of the coon in our community, right? Now, when I talk about this, it's better for me to have a face of coonery to point to as to an example of what I'm talking about when I'm breaking down coonery in our community. So I need faces, right? I need faces. I need the Candace Owens. I need the Brandon Tatum. So I need this stuff to show people, for example. Oh, you need it too. You need it too. All y'all need a face to talk, the point
Bernard,
out to say, look, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, y'all ain't no different. Y'all ain't no different than any other content creator up on here. Whatever they are talking about, whatever they decide to build their channel on, they are going to need a face to put up on there as an example of what they're speaking out against. They're going to need that face. Sir. I'm not projecting. Name me the person who don't do that. Name me the person, because you've done it. Bernard has done it. You're
talking about okay. What you're saying is that somebody did something one time. That means they always do it.
So I'm not even saying it's different from me. I'm saying y'all just doing it in a different manner because I don't talk about.
There are degrees to that. There are degrees to that. Like, and you're trying to make it because you put one person in it. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, anybody will tell you I don't put fucking names in my titles like that. Like that's why one of the reasons why I don't
right now. I go to your channel right now.
Anybody, nigga, I don't even spell my shit right. I got like my last three titles. One is ... One is morning thoughts. People they joke about that.
You never mentioned Cynthia G.
I didn't say never. Now you moving the goalpost. No, I haven't. And now you're moving the goalpost. Now it's like you did it one time, you do it all the time.
You said you don't put people
in like that.
Oh, like that. Okay, so what's like that? Like once a month, twice a year? What's like that?
Nigga, so what would you define building your channel off of it? Let's do that, because you don't want to insinuate that first.
I said y'all built your channel.
I said y'all built your channel. And so wait, define that. Once a month, once every 90 days?
Are you going to answer? You going to ask me a question and answer it? Or are you going to allow me to answer the question? Now, I never said that you built your channel off Cynthia G. I never said majority of y'all built your channel off Cynthia G.
I didn't say either. I heard what you said. You said you built it, it wasn't her, it'd be somebody else.
I said if y'all didn't have her as a face, it would be another face up there. It would be somebody from Madame Noir, Essence Magazine. It would be somebody. It would be somebody if it wasn't Cynthia. You know, Cynthia outlasted a lot of the other women that y'all was talking about at one point. Like, it was a time when all y'all wanted to talk about was Kristen Karazin. Y'all don't talk about her that much anymore because she's not.
And the problem is, you talk about the manosphere in its totality. You got different levels to it. You got O'Shea's sector. You got BGS Igmore's sector. You got the 1.0. You got Angry Man sector. You got like everybody that's adjacent to that. So when you look at the manosphere, it's kind of like you talking about like Europe, when you got a lot of different levels to doing that. Like for in a lot of like Obsidian sector, there's certain people that were more about that than others. And I get you trying to blanket shit. I get your point, but everybody didn't do that. And the exam, like really what you're saying is we clout chasing. That's really what I have a fucking problem with what you're saying. We're clout chasing off of bitches, and that's not true.
Everybody, all y'all clout chasing, the women and the men. The women
and the men are clout chasing.
They are clout chasing off Kevin Samuels. They are clout chasing off Kevin Samuels. They clout chasing off of Tommy Sotomayor, and y'all doing the same thing with the women. It's all clout chase game.
I mean, clout chase game. Shit.
Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me?
Here's the deal. it's some truth in it that yes, a lot of what we do is respond to a lot of female talking points against black men. They say some BS against black men. Yeah, we are the front line that responds to it and slaps the BS down. So we do that. That's not centered around Cynthia G, but a lot of her arguments make the rounds with a lot of women, and they echo a lot of her stuff. So in a way, we're responding to her. But as far as like, I've never put her name in a title or face in a thumbnail.
We don't. Okay, well, Bernard, let me say this and be clear. We don't look for them as to what content to create. If they stop fucking talking, it wouldn't be okay. Our channels are dead. That's not how it would work.
So the black manosphere
because we speak from our experience. We're speaking from our experiences and collective black men's experiences first, not from what the fuck they say.
So the black manosphere is a response to black feminism. So what Psychopathia say is true. Without black feminism, the black manosphere wouldn't exist. And if I had to get rid of one to get rid of the other,
that's
then
not
so
what
be
he
it.
said.
However,
I did say that. I said yin and yang. I said the yin and the yang.
I get that. Well, yin and yang is different because
Let me say this.
No, I was talking to Edward. I was talking to Edward. Yeah, I was talking to Edward.
Time out. Can y'all hear me? I think Ed's only problem, I think everybody kind of agree. I think Ed's only problem is that Psycho kind of threw it out there in a backhanded way that y'all wouldn't exist if it wasn't for these bitches.
No,
that's basically.
The concept of the manosphere.
Right quick, Psycho.
The concept of the manosphere.
Psycho, right quick, please.
Bullshit. 1.0 started before these bitches did.
Okay. Well, once again, online. The black manosphere is here to address black feminism, which existed prior to the internet. If Oprah did not exist and all these other fat ass bitches didn't exist, then neither would the manosphere. So yes, we are here. We are here to address the problem. Right quick. We are here to address a problem, and that problem is black female culture. So there is truth in what Psychopathia says in that. Now, the false part is Cynthia G individually. She is a representative of this culture. Absolutely, she is the result of the result of it. I would not call her a poster child, but she is definitely the result of this culture. So yeah, she's part of what we are here to dismantle.
Yeah, shout out. Hold on. Shout out to Minister Jab. All right. Minister Jab has said some things on travel I don't agree with. I've also said that a lot of y'all need to stop gaslighting his ass and talking to him about travel when he has made it very clear how he feels about it. I listen to Minister Jab. I haven't listened to him recently, but I've gone very big spells on listening to him. Minister Jab doesn't build his channel like that. Mr. Jab can talk about black female fuckery for very long spells of time without bringing somebody's name up or bringing them up, because he talks about what he's observed. I understand that there are some content creators that do that, and I'm not necessarily hating on them. But what I am saying, and to be fair, a lot of content creators that used to do that don't do that as much anymore. But this idea that we look for them online, and Game Changer, what you're saying about black feminists is not what the fuck he's saying. And he's going along. You're kind of giving him cover, and that's what I'm getting annoyed by.
That is what I said.
No, you didn't.
It's so many.
You said that we look for these women online.
I never said no. That's what you said. That's what you said.
Oh my God, nigga, you gonna make me go back.
That's what you're saying. I said.
Ed, say what you just said again. I missed that.
He said and I understand the Cynthia G point too, but he's saying, well, if Cynthia G wasn't here, it'd be another female. He's not talking about it in the broad of feminism, because you would have used that. You're not talking about it from a deep problem.
I said, bro, listen, I'm not here to defend no fucking feminism. I don't know where you even going with all this.
That's not what the fuck I say. Oh my God. Okay.
What I clearly said, whatever. If you stop talking for a second and listen a little bit more, you will know what I'm saying. Now, what I said was, Cynthia G right now is the poster child, but y'all need a yang to y'all yin. That's what I said. Because I said it's always going to be, and I said this on my channel numerous times. I've said the manosphere is a necessary evil. I have told these women this. I said the manosphere is a necessary evil, because as long as you got these feminists running around here losing their fucking minds and with no agency whatsoever, changing all these laws that are not beneficial to black men and everything else, you need the manosphere. You need some pushback to some of this fuck shit that's going on. I've always said that. So I am holding position that yes, there's a yin and a yang aspect going on. And with y'all side of the thing, y'all need a poster child, just like they need a poster child. Their poster child currently is Kevin Samuels. That's their poster child. Before that, it was Tommy. It was Obsidian at one point. It was always a poster child. They take one poster down, they put a new one up. Right now, y'all poster is Cynthia G. If Cynthia G wasn't around, it'll be a new one. It'll be Paris Milan.
Right.
It'll be Chris.
Let me respond. Let me respond to that, because I'm gonna tell you right now.
Are you saying psychopathy? Are you saying manosphere incorrectly on purpose? It's like you're saying manosphere.
No, I'm saying manosphere.
Oh, okay, they clowning you in the chat.
Whatever. First of all, let's be clear here. If we didn't have the bitch problem, basically the manosphere would be built around motivation, self-improvement. How can black men do what they need to do? I mean, people talk about, well, if there was a perfect community, there wouldn't be a need for a manosphere. Well, that's not the planet we live on, and the planet's never been perfect. Black YouTube and black male stuff, you deal with geekdom, entertainment, sports. So if people really wanted to be on YouTube, there's plenty of cooking. There's plenty of things that people can do on YouTube. And there's black politics, which doesn't have to necessarily be gender specific. Just like how these women got makeup and shit that has nothing to do with, well, at least directly to men. Like this idea that we absolutely need women, that's not true. We're talking about that at the end of the day, the manosphere was built around, if you're going to have a community, the community has to work. And then we started to really understand, as we started to explore this, how deep the shit was and how deep a lot of black male issues. Honestly, we could just talk about black men's bullshit and have a whole space. And there are certain people that do that. So I get what you're saying, but the reality is you're really trying to make it sound like we need them and we look for them to lead us. And then another thing too, I call question.
I never said that about lead. I never said that.
Well, you're implying. You implied it.
Like I didn't say nothing about nobody leading anybody. I never made that claim. I never said nothing like that. I don't even know.
You never said the words, but when you make statements like, well, if it wouldn't be Cynthia, it would be somebody else. You need a poster child.
Yes,
which means we
can't
opt
if you're
pushing
the message, you need a poster child. Liberals need a poster child when they pushing their message against Republicans. That's what Donald Trump was. Donald Trump was the poster child. Wait, let me finish. Donald Trump was the poster child for the liberals for 4 straight years. For 4 straight years, Donald Trump was the poster child. They needed him as the poster child so they can get Biden in. This is how this world works. You need poster childs when you are pushing a message.
And to what you said right there, that's why I do understand what you're saying. Going back to what I said before, it did come off as backhanded, as if like you was saying you niggas couldn't do content if it wasn't for these female content creators. That part is not true. I've done
because y'all will have World Star Hip Hop. That's how it all started. World Star Hip Hop videos, right? So y'all still have the World Star Hip Hop videos, even
though I've done content just fine, talking about life and experiences with women. If the women never came on YouTube making content, black men would still have things to talk about in terms of what we experience. So it's not solely predicated on whether or not black women are making YouTube videos as well, but it do get entangled into each other. So from that point, I understand what you're saying. It's just kind of backhanded if you're saying you niggas couldn't do content if it wasn't for women doing content. That's where it gets.
Well, that's what I'm hearing.
And that's the only thing Ed is fighting against right there. And I understand him for doing that.
And then the argument of the manosphere is a necessary evil. What's evil about the manosphere?
I think all this shit is evil. I'm pro-black. I think y'all evil. I think the women are evil that do this dumb shit. I think all this gender banging shit is evil. That's my position because I'm pro-black. And to me, all this shit is toxic and dysfunction. And my goal is to get rid of the dysfunction out of the community. And to me, this is a prime example of.
So how do you do it?
Right.
Okay, it's all these because my problem. Okay, so now cue in game changer with the indictment on pro-black shit. Now that becomes great. My problem is understand the shit we do is because the ideology of being pro-black is fucking failed. Because the truth is, the black manosphere wouldn't really need to exist if the pro-blacks wouldn't be so gynocentric and basically not basically believe that the black woman cannot be challenged.
See, okay, now
pro-blacks by definition read that way.
Okay, Edward. Now, real quick, Edward, you said something earlier, and I didn't even disagree with you when you said it. You said the manosphere is made up of a lot of different sectors, a lot of different sets, a lot of different ideologies and people, and we all kind of just come together and form the manosphere. But you don't play us in no big one blanket. That's what you asked me to do. But then you, in turn,
show me the sector. They're fine, great. Show me the sector. It's not.
Let me finish.
Show me the sector. It's not.
You in turn turn around and do exactly what you asked me not to do with the manosphere and throw all pro-blacks in the one big box. And this is what I'm telling you. It ain't like that.
Sure. Show me the sector that's not. Don't tell me to do it. I showed you the sectors that didn't represent what I was talking about. I told you to ignore the SYSB. I broke that down. You show me the sector that's not.
Shatazar Ali is pro-black. She's against the gynocracy.
That's one person.
Wait.
Oh, you're talking about the person. Hold on. The one person. No, I said sector. Hold on. The one person is saying, hold on. The one person is saying, hold on. Time out. No, time out.
My sector.
Shahrazad Ali said that you was turned out by a man. Mediocre just uploaded the actual specific clip that if you speaking on the shit we speaking on, which let me be clear here, what I do is not anti-black woman. What I do is pro what the facts are. Hold on, I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying this is the pro-black. You said that the manosphere was evil. You did say that.
Yeah,
when I say what is evil, you said it's gender badge. I don't gender badge.
No, you gender bang. Y'all gender
bang. We don't do that. We don't. We don't.
You don't gender bang?
No.
Motherfuckers lying. Stop. Stop. Everything y'all talk about is
gender. No. Bernard, calm out. Bernard. That's not gender banging, dude.
Y'all don't talk about nothing.
So you're saying talk about single mother is gender banging.
Y'all are one-dimensional. Y'all talk about one thing, gender. Whatever is based
on. Now here's the real psycho. Here's the real psycho. Now we're where we need to be. To call the bullshit out. Good. We're now where we need to be.
I'm
so give me a talking. What talking point? Number one, that's not true because this fucking video today is really about black men and black men being accountable to us not holding others accountable in the same way. That's what I've been coming back to. Now see, I get all you hear is a female being talked about.
No,
so we hold black men game changer. Game changer. I didn't say you were. I didn't say you were. But even game changer. Hold on. Even game changer is talking. Even once again, even game changer is talking about male orbiters. And for the most part, and incest. So he's being gender neutral when he talked about pro-blacks. So both of us have been pretty much straight on the line. Yet you come on here and say, so I guess because we talk, number one, we talk about black men too. We don't just talk.
That's still gender. That's still gender. Black men ain't a gender. Black men isn't a gender.
Oh my God, nigga.
That's not a gender. Like I said, everything y'all talk about is based around gender.
God.
Everything y'all talk about is based around gender.
God.
I didn't say you was based around black women. I said gender. I said
really?
Everything y'all talk about is yes, really. Yes, look around. You pay attention. Open up your eyes.
We talk about 809, 802.
Edward, Psycho. Let me see if I understand you correctly, Psycho. Are you saying that it's a problem, or you're surprised that something called the black manosphere is about gender?
I don't give a fuck what y'all talk about what y'all want to talk about. I'm not trying to control y'all channels.
No, but
I am going to point out what it is y'all doing.
Well, you're stating the obvious. It's kind of like saying white supremacist is about race. Like, I mean, it's implied in the title.
Yeah, but
it's implied. Wait, right quick. It's implied in the title, Psycho, that the black manosphere will be about gender. I don't see why that's worth stating.
Right. No, that's BS. Yeah, because y'all men, y'all don't have to hyper focus on everything that's about gender. You tell me the only thing men talk about is gender.
I don't know if y'all can hear me. All right, we talk about men, we talk about women, and we talk about a lot of other shit. Then we can just leave it there. All right, Man Friday in the building. Thanks.
I've never seen y'all do a sports show in my life. A bunch of grown ass.
Psycho, I would love. Hold on, Bernard.
Hold on. I'm muting y'all for a second. Metaphorical tactics. He says the manosphere is not an evil, but it is necessary, helping men to do better themselves. To help men to better themselves is not evil. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm gonna let you. I understand his perspective. He's saying it's I mean, I don't understand. He's saying it's a necessary evil. I would drop the evil.
He's saying we're evil. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I would love that. I would love.
That's why I'm saying I dropped the. I'm muting y'all at this point. Come on, y'all. I would drop the evil and just say that we necessary, but his perspective is his perspective. Whatever. But shout out to Charles Merchant in the building. Says Pookie Sphere pro black hates when you talk about his mama, sister, granny. Shout out to Charles Merchant.
See what I mean? Look, y'all only hearing that. That's all y'all hearing.
No, that's not.
Everybody missed when I said the women are evil too, and everybody missed that part. And everybody hyper focused on, oh, he said the black man is evil. But everybody forget about what I said about the women. You forgot about that part. Everybody skipping right over that and hyper focusing on this. Right.
Look, the women are not evil. Hold on. The problem that I have with what black women do has nothing to do with being gender specific. The problem I have with black women is they lie. They are not accurate. If black women told the truth and it happens to be fault on an L that black men have to take, well, damn it, they gotta take the L.
Nobody.
It's all about. It's about.
Tell the truth.
Okay, so see,
everybody's full of shit. All y'all motherfuckers are talking from your own anecdotal experiences. None of you motherfuckers can talk for the collective of black men or black women. The black men and the black women can't talk for the collective of nobody.
A lot of empirical data. You can't say we just
where's Obsidian
experience. Come on.
Yeah. Please but I know y'all gonna bring up the little stats and data that's based on surveys. The
white man wrote, right? The white man wrote, so it doesn't count. Hold on. Let me snap my fingers with the
Why you keep bringing up white men? I ain't even talk about
white men. Let me light my candle. Let me light my candle.
Look how you brought that. Look how you brought up white men. See how you say they start taking shots at everything else.
You said you pro-black. What are you talking about? You sound retarded right now.
Wait. So be pro-black. You gotta be in the candles. Is that what you're saying? Is you throwing us in a box again? Is you throwing us in all one big box again? Are you doing what you accused me of doing earlier again? Are you doing what you accused me of doing earlier again? You are projecting. You are a master projector. You projected onto me
what you actually do. All of it out.
You project on me what you actually do. So, pro-black ain't got nothing to do with candles. You are talking about a specific. No, it doesn't. Show me a definition. Show me a definition where four black people mean anything about candles. Don't tell me about some conscious hotel spot you went to.
That be quiet. He's having a nervous breakdown.
No, y'all not making no sense. Y'all not making no sense.
You're asking a question. You're asking a question, and then you're yelling over the answer.
Yeah. Show me a definition. Show me better than tell me. Cite your source. Cite your source.
Okay, I'll cite my source. Every pro-black nigga that tried to sell me a candle is my source.
Every pro-black nigga that sold you a candle, every pro-black nigga. Every pro-black nigga, that's anecdotal bullshit. That's anecdotal bullshit. What's your source? Because every pro-black person that tried to sell you a candle ain't every pro-black person. So like I said, what's your source?
I agree.
What's your source? I guess you're gay. I guess everybody on this band in the manosphere is gay because Kevin Samuel's gay. So now everybody's gay. Because he's gay.
Oh my God.
That's how we gonna do it. All you y'all a bunch of fruitcakes. All of y'all a bunch of dick sucking fruitcakes.
This episode has been sent to Patreon by Psycho. Grab your candle.
Drop Psycho down. Psycho normally.
And you know what? Obsidian, I'll give you $30. I need you to make a pro-black candle nigga commercial. Brought to you by Psycho.
All right, we about to go to Black Wizard. We about to go to Black Wizard, man. Come on in and save us, Black Wizard. Go ahead, you got it.
You ran the black woman away.
I was hoping that was
it was nurse. That was too much nigga shit for her.
We don't know if it's nerd or nurse. Did she ever let him talk?
Well, it's too much nigga shit for both of them.
All right, cool. Go ahead, Black Wizard.
No, I was hoping to get in on the conversation and try to, I don't know, find some kind of middle ground here.
Nigga, you either go buy these fucking candles. Nigga, you go either buy these fucking candles or you're gay.
Now, nigga, stop sucking dick. Then you said that and say you want to fuck Taz.
All right. Normally got, no disrespect.
It's funny. Psycho loves to be over there with the B1 network. He's one of them niggas to be listening to them motherfuckers. That's why he's over there. But whatever. And now see this is and that gossip shit. Oh, you see that, Bernard? You were trying to ask me why I wanted to bring it up because this is what niggas do. Niggas gossip like bitches, and then every time a nigga get mad, they start to pull from what the other bitch ass nigga gossip through. Even though he like, man, that's what you said. Now I explained what I said. I said that Taz was stalking me like he wanted to have sex with me. That's what I said. I understand it because you niggas got low IQ. That you all hear gay, nigga, sex, you all lose your mind, even though most of y'all don't have the balls to call out actual LGBTQ folk. Y'all know how to shut the fuck up because y'all know y'all won't have a channel. But anyway, we'll drop off of that. Like I said, man, my point is I would love to debate Psycho on Prophet Thought. I will take that bet. As far as the manosphere and as far as us gender banging. I rarely like to do that, but that one I would take. Because that shit about the manosphere being evil, all this gender banging is evil, that's an emotional argument. The reason the manosphere exists is because for decades we have been lied on. That's it. And pro-blacks, to be fair, were comfortable with black men being lied on. With some exceptions, like I'll give Shahrazad Ali, but outside of that, pro-blacks, and this is damn me, all of them are perfectly, even BGS says that he's in it. They are perfectly comfortable with the narrative that black men ain't shit and black women suffer because of black men ain't shit. Now, Psycho may not be that, but he's around motherfuckers that are like that. That's why BGS.
Edge was Borg. No one in the building says studies based on labor, income, IRS survey, multiple black demographics. Okay, right. He's just basically saying, yeah, that's one of the area. Well, a couple of more than a few areas, but that's definitely one area where he went left, where he said dudes just complaining.
Facts don't matter. The fact that we bring it up, we're talking
like that.
We're talking about it in front of the white man's airwave.
I take major issue with that, saying that we're just complaining about anecdotal experiences when we cite all kinds of empirical data to back up what we're saying, and we try to be as accurate as possible. Yes, but I'm not even gonna qualify nothing. We cite empirical data and try to be as accurate as possible. Number 16 in the building.
I mean, Bernard, you rarely talk from your own anecdotal experience. I rarely hear the situation. Like up until recently, we didn't hear nothing about like the religious stuff and stuff like that. That's what doesn't get said. A lot of us are not talking from our own anecdotal experiment. I don't deal with this with black women to the extent that I don't, because truth be told, black women that act like they ain't got no damn sense are not around. You're in that situation necessarily. So this idea that whatever. Like that was an emotional argument. I'm not gonna talk about him since he ain't here. But man, that shit, that was a fucking.
But no, with Psycho, I normally have good conversations with psychopathia, but it went a little wild today. But no, I normally do have.
But see, the problem is when you say shit. But yes, but when you hear, it's one thing to talk to stuff. But what's important, and this is interesting, bringing up Cynthia G, is if you think what we do is evil, Like, cause that he stood on that. That wasn't something that I'm trying to supersede on him. He said, I think gender banging is evil. Number one, we don't gender bang. What we do is we assign the facts where they are. That's it. And we do it now. You can say we filter it based on gender, but we're not gender banging, nigga. Most of us in this space date black women. What the fuck are you talking about? Nurse Nerd felt comfortable enough to come up on here until she saw a crazed motherfucker, and then they were like, "Oh shit, whatever." Like, what are you talking? We got black men that are married to black men. What the fuck are you? Gender banging is when you know a black man is wrong.
Whoa, scratch that. That you misspoke right there. You meant to say black men who are married to black women, correct? You said black men who are married to black men. I'm just saving you from getting clipped. That's all.
Well, you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I know what you meant.
I get it.
I'm just saving you.
Y'all want to act like 12. Well, I get it, but no, I appreciate that, Bernard. But you know what? I'm 34. Y'all want to act like y'all 2 years old? Then go ahead.
Yeah,
like, as far as I'm concerned, that just goes to the lack of.
A lot of the clip people,
and I don't care.
Like
I got my people know.
A lot of them act like they're 2 years old to me. Yeah. So
well, when I'm talking, and this goes to serious, but I appreciate what I'm saying is. What I'm saying is, you have black people that black men are. The reason why I said black men on black men is black men are not going to take up for other black men when they know black men are wrong. That's not what we do here. If you're wrong, hell, you got motherfuckers that motherfuckers are right, and then they still go against them, and try to talk on some other shit. So the reality is, we care about what facts are. Not that's it. That's where it starts. Are you correct or are you not correct? Whether you're a man or a woman. Hell, the reason why I brought this fucking video up in the first place is because what did O'Shea say? Shout out to O'Shea. O'Shea said that there are some good talking points Cynthia G has, but this is what she did and this is out of bounds. Like, but when you interpret everything as gender bang, see here's the problem. And I'm gonna say this just like this. The pro-black community has failed. The pro-black community tried to say that they deserve the mantle of responsibility over the black church because, and I don't give a fuck what sector, your Hebrew Israelites, your Nation of Islam, and Nation of Islam is only accountable for the Nation of Islam, so that's kind of a exception there because they're only accountable for the people that are in their group. But any sector of pro-black, they all have the same problem, which is at the end of the day, they can't get past that bitch. And Psycho proved that because Psycho interprets what we do as a collective group to gender banging. That's what he like. Obsidian is constantly talking about wanting to have a real dialogue that black men and black women don't get along, and that is the central problem that he wants addressed and he wants to solve. Am I misinterpreting what Obsidian says, Bernard, to your opinion?
No, not at all.
Okay, so my point, and Obsidian by O'Shea is considered the godfather or one of the three pillars of the manosphere. And then would you assume that O'Shea kind of shared that similar view, in your opinion?
Mm-hmm.
Would you assume Kevin shared that similar view?
Absolutely.
Would you assume Angry Man shared a similar view?
Yeah, no, I agree. Angry Man. Yeah.
Okay. So when you look at the pillars of black, even BGS has kids. He's talking about he's a monk, but he's done. So this idea, now we'll say what needs to be said. I'm gonna say something.
You made a point.
But my point is this idea that.
The point that you made is a point that I've tried to make before. That if you look at 1 to 3 main pillars of the manosphere, and then Kevin Samuels, to put him in there he got 1 million subs, so we're gonna put him in there, put him in there too, just off views. Yep, I know some people don't like that, but yeah, just off views, put Kevin Samuels right in there too.
Off impact.
And all of them.
And to be fair, 1.0.
All of them to some degree are pro-black family. There's varying levels to it, but all of them to some degree are pro-black family and would genuinely like to see black men and black women work out their problems. Yes, it's going to be some people left behind. Yes, it ain't going to work for everybody, but overall, they, even Angry Man said one of the things that prompted him to start his channel that he didn't like how the effects, how feminism affected relationships. That's part of the reason why he created the Angry Man standard and all of that. So to say that it's just gender banging, just talking shit, man. Fuck these bitches. He's trying to fuck
And
these
and
bitches.
then
Fuck
and
these
then
bitches. Like,
and
no,
then
that's not all it is.
and I want to highlight this too. Shahrazad, he mentioned Shahrazad Ali. He could have mentioned anybody. That's who he mentioned first. Now, part of that may have been because no, I didn't bring her up in this conversation. That was on my video. So here's the funny thing. He mentioned her, and what did Shahrazad Ali say? And then he started jumping into the gay shit. What did she say? Oh, men that basically either you've been hurt or you got turned out by a man. What this shows is the pro-blacks have this similar view of either sweeping it under the carpet, or you believe that somehow it's a commentary on your manhood that you're calling what shit out is. Y'all, because pro-blacks prefer to talk about it from a vertical standpoint, a racial standpoint. We're saying you can't solve the race problem if we're not united. We can't be united if we don't work out our problems. Now, and we can't work out our problem. What did I say? I said that black men have an inability to basically identify the central problem. And if you can't identify a problem, you can't focus on the solution. Now, Psycho acknowledges that feminism is a problem, but he tries to lump the shit in there like, well, first came what the fuck we were doing, and then came the feminism, or in reverse, as if, like, we're not talking from a gender standpoint. It just so happens that gender is used by the white man as a mechanism to control the black community by uplifting black women. Pro-blacks don't want to have that conversation. Women have their own reasons for not wanting to, and black men have their own reasons. That's where the bullshit is. If you prove me wrong, prove me the fuck wrong. It's not about gender banging. So he basically like showed a lot there. He showed a lot in when him going off. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just a nigga.
Number 16
Is he still in the background?
says, it says, you sure know how to get the crazies on the panel, Bernie. I never wouldn't put psychopathias in the realm of crazy. I wouldn't put him in there, but he did. He went left, or maybe he thought maybe the left he went is where he maybe the left he went is where he normally drives. I don't know, but no, I normally have good conversations with Psycho, but all right, son is hot around the building. He says pro-black's birth Cynthia G. Y'all created this monster, so don't try to abandon your Frankenstein monster you created now and push it on to the manosphere brothers. Like, hey,
yeah, they did validate her. That is an L they need to hold. Like in manosphere, a lot of manosphere people that do listen to her, they got fucking pro-black tendencies. So they gotta hear it. That's so it ain't no gender banging, ain't no gender bangers listening to Cynthia G. That they're manosphere gender bangers, but they listen to her. No. It's them pro-blacks. They got pro-black tendencies.
I guess what's meant by gender banger? Like what did he mean by that?
He explained, he said it very clearly. He said, we just talk about gender all day. That's like we don't know how to talk about nothing else, which is actually not correct. I mean, you got the Black Brain Trust. You got plenty of are you serious?
Edward, it's a mistake to try to speak otherwise. I mean, like we're supposed to. I don't go to church and say all you talk about is God. Like this is the Black manosphere. Like yes, the gender is the topic that I talk about. I don't. Why are you
game changer?
Wait a minute, Edward. Why are you expecting something else? Like, why aren't you talking about sports, nigga? Because this is the Black manosphere. Like, this is not. This is the forum for that. It's very weird. That's why I was silent through the whole thing because that's what we're.
You engage with women more than I do, game changer. You talk to what Chantel Simone. I think I found Nurse Nerd on my own. But you Danique, we have a slight disagreement on Danica Marie. But my point is, you see what I'm saying? Like the people on here are they were just criticizing you for the Bernard for the interview with the chick. But my point is, we don't gender, and even the people criticizing talks to women. So I get what you're saying. Yes, we talk about gender, but that's not really what he's saying. What he's saying is we bash black women. He's saying that we both bash each other. No, we don't. Bashing is your lying. We don't lie on black women. That's what Game changer. Would you consider yourself, if a black man is wrong and a black woman is right? I mean, obviously so. Are you going to take the black man's point just because they're a black man? Is that how you do things?
No.
Exactly. I don't. Bernard, do you do that?
No, I don't do that.
Wizard, do you do that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Like, if there's multiple points to be made, we'll make the points and kind of put all the cards out there to widen the conversation. But we don't do that. Hell, I'm pissed because people are giving Cynthia G, but she's got some good talking points disclaimer. That's why I'm mad. So I'm like the closest to that quote unquote gender bang shit. And people are all up on me about, oh, well, you keep saying that there's value of women being in this space. I mean, come on, man. And some of the people that are telling me that, shout out to Black Guru, is married with none but black daughters. Like, what are people? Come on. Hell, I didn't know BGS had 2 daughters and 1 son. Like, come on. That's ridiculous. It really is. And then when you can't make the argument, what do we go to? Kevin's giving gay homosexual cards out like Oprah gives out cars. You're gay. Everybody's gay.
Shout out to hold on real quick. Yeah, shout out to Perfect Blackness. I know I missed a couple super chats. I saw you where you typed in the chat saying that I missed your super chat. I had to dig it up. He says, "Wow, a black man complaining to a black male space, complaining that black men in that space are voicing black gender issues. Go figure." I think that's the point that Game Changer is making. That yes, a lot of this space was built on basically the social contract between men and women. That's what a large part of what the manosphere was built on, and it was a response to feminism, feminist ideals, values, and all of that stuff. It was a response to that. So yes, men, because of that, are going to be talking about women in this space. People who trying to make this a space where women are not discussed are people who are essentially trying to change the space or siphon the audience from this space to do their own agenda and their own thing. So, I mean, people need to get on with that. This space will talk about women. It will address feminism. It will address gender issues. It will do that. And we do talk about other stuff. I got it. And it will do other things in addition to that. So there's that. People just need to. That's what this space is. If you don't like the space, you don't like the space. Then go somewhere else. Find another store.
A lot of guys have. This is why I want to bring this up, because I really can give a shit about what psychopathy is. I mean, his opinion is what Obsidian Gay did a video talking about the critique shit, but everybody don't really be having critiques. They sound just like Kevin sounds. Yeah, like when they call Kevin talk about disagreements, that's how they sound when they talk about us, and they want to say, oh, well, what the manosphere does is. So they have to be very hyperbolic in what we do, because that's the only way they can really make a point, because they don't run a, like, and to a certain extent, he acknowledged that feminism was a problem. I get that, and I'll give him that. But it's like, dude, well, what are you going to do? Are you just going to not going to really try to really address the problem? And it's like dudes just want to pretend like black women don't have these feelings. So the community around it, I don't understand that. I really don't. Because that shows you people have an inability to really address an issue. As it's like we're making up the issue. Well, because you can't get women, you just making it like it's this big old issue where every black man can't get women, and that's really what he was essentially saying. And that's what a lot of black men believe. And that's why the community's doomed. Because
all right. Chief BD in the building. He said get some Midol. He cramping bad. I think he was referring to Psycho. It was a couple people. Shout out to Chief BD. Shout out to Jackie's Retro. He says ninjas killing is evil. Shout out to you. Trying to find who I can't find. Taylor Anderson said hashtag B1. Shout out to you.
Anyway,
who was this? Yeah, Hamilcar Baraka said this space should be about empowerment and building. Yeah, I do a business and building stream every Weekend with Ike, and I got got quite a few streams like that. Were you in attendance? Okay, y'all be having black women living rent free in your head. No, they living rent free in my bed. God damn it! No, just not really though. But let them do them. We do us. All right. Yeah.
Not really. I get paid to talk about black women, so not really.
Yeah. I'm just. Yeah. I was just bullshitting, but no. But shout out to. I think that's it. All right. I think that's it. And shout out to Jonathan Barronville. Shout out to Jonathan Barronville. Just sent a $50 super chat. Says I'm gonna go buy some candles so I can be my full fabulous gay self. Yeah.
I'm telling you, make sure you tell Obsidian. They don't tell him you'll buy his book if he does X amount of nigga commercials. People will commit to buying X amount. I mean, obviously people are buying his books anyway, but just for the fun of it, I'm telling you, he needs to put that shit on TikTok. Them nigga commercials.
Yeah, that actually might work. I think.
I'm not even playing. Like, I mean that because I see how people be responding to Kevin shit.
Put them in the YouTube shorts.
Yeah, because I mean they're about a minute anyway. He just repeats them a lot of times, so they're about 60 seconds. So they're right there. And then people would do reaction to them, like they're driving in the radio and that's what they hear, and they giving all these retarded faces. Make it a thing.
Yeah, damn, that's smart. That's actually a good one, Ed. That's actually a good one. But all right, the link is in the chat. If somebody else want to come up, I know the nurse or nerd. I don't know if it was the nurse or the nerd. I was hoping it was a nerd. Probably was a nurse, but if you want to come back up, you can come back up. The link is in the chat. Got 360 people in here. 189. Damn it! I'm sitting there looking at it. I haven't even hit the damn like button. So we got 190 on the likes now. Now that I finally hit the like button, but yeah, Black Wizard. I don't even know if you fully said what you even came up to say. You kind of got lost in the blizzard of the panel. So I don't know if it was something.
No, I was just
wanted to get at.
Trying to figure out. I was just trying to like act as a, trying to find, what everybody was really trying to say. Like, what did he mean by, what did Psycho mean by, the all the stuff that he was saying, and then try to kind of find like a way to navigate that conversation so it didn't turn out the way that it did. But by the time I got up here, it was too late. One thing I will say, though, that I don't like about the manosphere is like the underselling of like the what is it, like how we talk about anecdotal stuff. Like when I hear people generally talk about anecdotal experiences in the manosphere, they generally tend to say like the anecdotal stuff. Nobody's talking about anecdotal stuff. Anecdotal stuff doesn't matter. But it's like the anecdotal stuff that brought everybody to the manosphere in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it really does any justice to undermine people's anecdotal experiences, because that's the reason people are here. They're like, man, something's fucked up. I gotta find out what's fucked up. And they come here and then they talk about other people's anecdotal experiences and hear that. And then they're like, oh, well, something must be going on. And then the stats and the statistics help them figure out what's going on in the world.
There you go. No, I'm glad you hold on. I'm glad you brought it home at the end when you said the stats line up with somebody's anecdotal experience. Because if guys were just talking about their own little personal stuff but based off the data, the things that they were saying was statistically outliers, then somebody could say that, hey, y'all just a group of people who all had a similar rare experience happen, and y'all just coalesce together on YouTube to bitch about it, but it's not reflective of what's going on in reality. That argument could be made if we didn't use empirical data to back up a lot of what we say. Now, there are some things, and this kind of happened on one of the previous shows, where there are some things that are really hard to quantify or hard to explain empirically. I call it like the manosphere truisms that it's hard to really empirically prove that, but we kind of know that it's true, so we talk about it. But a lot of the core stuff, yes, it's data to back it up. It is data to back it up, and that's the most important part. For example, my divorce. So when I talked about how, man, I was just drew the short stick completely inside out. It was ridiculous. Then I look into some things, study some things, and found out that across the board, men are getting the shaft like that, like so. I mean, so we find out that a lot of our anecdotal experiences are more common, and yeah. So
Yeah,
we can go
but
from there.
I think
I
we
guess
should.
my
I think we
point.
should know.
My point in saying that was that
Wait, hold on,
the
I'll let Game Changer
anecdotal.
go.
Well, just no, because I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying, Black Wizard. I agree wholeheartedly. Like, just because something is anecdotal doesn't mean it doesn't hold weight. In fact, statistics is really a collection of anecdotal evidence. That's why they do surveys and stuff. See, anything that deals with interpersonal interaction is going to be anecdotal because the interaction itself is. And yes, you may have a collection of people that share this experience, but that doesn't mean it's less true. Basically, people say that to try to invalidate what you are saying, and they see the truth in it. For example, Arby's tastes like shit. Now, somebody could say, that's your anecdotal experience at particular Arby's. Like, yes, it is. And Arby's tastes like shit. It doesn't mean that you saying that is going to mean that it makes it taste better than me. I often say to people, anything I say without numbers in it is anecdotal. That doesn't mean it doesn't hold weight. It means that
Exactly.
Yeah. So no, I'm with you on that, Black Wizard.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just want everybody to know Arby's tastes like shit. All right.
Actually,
no, I was just gonna.
The chicken.
I was just gonna add to that.
Chicken bacon Swiss from Arby's is real good, and those euro or gyro.
That's anecdotal, Bernard. That's anecdotal. And where's the statistics that says that the chicken bacon such and such tastes good? What's your experience? Huh?
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
And real quick to the person in the chat, look, I deleted your message. I don't know if that was a joke you said, but I'm still playing back child support. I don't like when people just throw bullshit out there. I hate when people try to throw a narrative. When I said I went through shit with my divorce, it wasn't about child support. That wasn't the issue. But anyway, got custody. So quit saying bullshit.
So here's the thing, right?
I notice when people say bullshit, then people go and repeat bullshit, and I see the whole damn response video. Never mind. All right,
Bernard, why are you paying attention to trolls?
Well, yeah, that's a fair question, but then the motherfucker said something directly to me, so I just figured I'll respond. But I normally don't. I normally just get them the hell out of here. Normally just get them the hell out. Sweet Melody Speaks in the building. Says, out running errands, listening from the clouds. Great stream. Hit the like button. Shout out to Sweet Melody Speaks in the building. Also, shout out to Captain Sicko. I don't know if that dude was a troll or not. I recognize him. I don't know if I can. It threw me off.
Cisco, yeah.
No, I'm talking about the Lotus Scalper dude. I see his name all the time. I don't know if he's a troll. So that's why I just felt the need to address it. Anyway, Captain Sicko, it says, as a game changer in Edward Anderson, does he, Kevin Samuel, really know karate? Huh?
Hey, bro, how about you? How about you just pull up on him? Just pull up on him.
Exactly. Exactly. Just call him gay to his face and find out. Like, I mean, that's why would I know? That's weird.
Like, these niggas are so weird, bro. Like, just pull up on him and you'll find out, man.
What the hell was that? That's a weird question.
I don't know what. Yeah.
This is what I was telling you, Bernard. Like, some of these niggas are so weird online, bro. Like, it's like if you want to find that out, you want to find out if he can fight. Okay, just pull up on him, call him gay, like y'all do on the internet.
Yeah,
you will find out very quickly.
Good morning. Can you all hear me?
Morning, JSP. Go ahead. You got the
okay. Let me say this. I've been sitting down and I listened to this for the 30 minutes, and I would say the young man who was there before, he did get angry, but I think some of his message was missed, and y'all just skeeted it over. I know when I first came into the Black Manosphere, y'all attacked pro-black people, and I'm not talking about the B1 network. I'm just talking about pro-black in general. And I think it's totally unfair because when you said failed, well, y'all seem to be doing pretty good now due to the fact that people had to struggle to get you where you at today. So it's an everlasting thing that the struggle continues. And maybe this might be the new generation of that struggle. But for you to look back at people who sacrificed their life and time and everything else, and you seen some benefit from it, and you're even using benefit from it today and then call it a failure, I think that's very unfair. And I have
Are you
listened.
saying that people are criticizing people who fought for rights, decades ago?
Yeah, because when you talk about pro-black
No, I'm
fail,
not talking about
So
them.
what they're
that's what I'm trying to get an
JSP,
understanding. I'm
no
trying to get an
JSP.
understanding.
So JSP, there are a group of brothers and sisters who have hijacked the title of pro-black to sell candles and African oils and rocks. I'm not talking about drugs, even though they sell that too. I'm talking about just shiny rocks that they feel have healing powers. So what they did was they hijacked the title, and we're attacking the new title. No, we're not really talking crap about the Black Panther movements, the Pan-African movements of the past. We're not.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get an understanding of, because when I, just like I said, when I first came in the manosphere, Brother Edward, he named off all the books that he read, and all these people from Dr. Henry Clark to people that I never hear bring up in certain instance of when it comes to pro-black. Look, let's just be honest. The Negro manosphere is pro-black, even if they don't want to say that. To even say that you are a race of people, that means that you're covering topics not only just in gender, you're covering topics that mean something to you. And especially when you talk about the black women and the relationship problem, you are talking about black issues.
No, I
So
agree.
that would make all of us, if we have some importance of what we're trying to strive for, to have a little ingredients of pro-black,
Yes.
Well, what
and
I'm saying, J Speed, is that people who are taking the title and making it mean something else, kind of like the alphabet community took rainbows and made it mean something else, and now I can't eat Skittles without thinking chase the rainbow, and it's like all messed up now. Like, people take titles of one thing and make it mean
right,
something else, and
right, but
that's what pro-blacks, that's
Game
what
changer,
modern
like,
pro-black.
man, I used to
that's
like
what you have
rainbows.
did.
I
Yeah,
That's
really
what
like
you.
rainbows.
But listen to this, game change.
that's not what I did.
You no. Listen what it is. I'm not saying that's what you did, but what I'm saying is, you know that Brother Edward know that, Brother Riley know that. But when you mention pro-black, all the people you're speaking to don't know the history of what you are talking about, and they probably put all of it in the same soup. Do you understand that?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying, and I'm not saying y'all should, curb your talking. If something is wrong, I don't give a damn. Whatever it is, whatever organization it is, if something is wrong with, because none of these organizations or none of these spheres or anything else is perfect, but I think you should identify exactly to the younger people who are listening to you, because that's what we're trying to change, the course of action where we at now and where we're trying to get at. And a lot of people don't know these things. Like a lot of young men don't understand the dating scene or the relationship scene, and y'all spell that out to them very eloquent. But I think when it comes down to issues like this, I think we have to be very cautious how we speak in big, broad terms. And when people don't quite understand what sector or what new sector or what you're talking about, because I didn't even understand it till you just broke it down to me now. And I've been fighting on this front line for 45 years.
I think that's fair. J Speed, quick question. You're NOI, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You familiar with a town called Roxbury?
Roxbury.
Yeah.
No, give me a little background. Maybe I might know about it a lot. Maybe it need to come back because I am kind of old now.
I'm just asking. So basically, that's one of the areas where there's a lot of NOI folks. That's why I'm asking that. So the reason I bring this up is because so on the pro-black topic, right? I think I always mention this, right? Like I always mention I've been on separate panels where I always mention like I have a very specific amount of respect for NOI folks, specifically because I grew up around a lot of them near Roxbury, specifically in the Mattapan area, and basically they're one of the few like groups of folks where I would see, you could call them pro-black, and I'd actually see them putting in the work. You know what I'm saying? Like putting in actual work, not like what Games are just saying, just selling crystals and shit, but like actually putting in the work, protecting the community, looking out for each other. They're the only ones I've ever seen stand up to the police, for example. You know what I'm saying? Like in real life, right? And so I think there's that aspect of pro-black, right? Versus there's the aspect that Game Changer is talking about, where basically, it's just a lot of times it's really just to enable, victimhood mindset and just bad behavior, right?
Right.
Like, whereas the NOI,
I understand that, but some of these people you're speaking of in that tone are pretty much, I would say, what we call commercial rap versus underground rap. All right. Commercial rap could be echoing some things that underground rap say, but they're really not living that life. But they do have a platform where they can speak on certain issues. But then you have the underground pro-black, who you hardly ever see in front of a camera or anything else. They do put in the work. So a lot of times that we quite don't understand, and that goes for everything dealing with us. See, a lot of people can't put their names on things or can't put their face in front of things because they're still working on a certain level where it might affect their employment and everything else. So they work underground. And what you might be hearing a lot of time are talking points and stuff like that from people who know how to ride in that middle road, but they're not the ones who actually out there doing the work. So we can't cut people short, because I know a lot of entertainers would never go to one of the Nation of Islam meeting, but they will send a check in. You see what I'm saying? So we have to be very cautious, I think, sometimes when we start talking about other groups, and I have really started being cautious about what I even say, that some of the things I dislike about the Black manosphere. I try to be very tactful when I say something, or if I have something personal I need to say to that person, I try to get in touch with that person via email or something like that.
Hey, but can I ask you something? Can I ask you something, OG, right quick?
Yes, sir.
You ever eat at Arby's?
It tastes bad. It tastes like shit, just like you said.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's all I'm trying to say.
Hey, AJ Speed. So AJ Speed, here's the thing, right? So the reason I brought this up though is because I do think it's actually very important to highlight the difference. So like what's interesting is, so I actually come from that background. I come from that background of being the pro-black guy. Well, I was actually a socialist. I've mentioned this before. I was actually a socialist, like a full-blown socialist, not a liberal. Not a liberal, a socialist, right? And so, I was part of groups of people who would organize protests, all of that, right? And one of the things that kind of, now I'm like pretty much conservative, I mean, by a lot of standards. And one of the things that kind of pushed me out of that was seeing how a lot of it becomes just enabling bad behavior, right? Enabling all types of the wrongs in the Black community. Right. And always finding an excuse to be a victim, always finding an excuse for why people do the things that they do. And that's one of them. I mean, there's multiple points. And I think that's very different. The reason I brought up the NOI point is that that's very different from what I see, for example, with the NOI, where the NOI is pretty much like their own community, right? They train their men, they train their women a certain way. And you see the way the women operate, you see the way the men operate. Like within the community, they're their own separate community, right? And everybody respects them, but they operate on their own. Compared to your typical pro-black group of folks where they're just enabling bad behavior. Like if you call out, for example, the Pookies, they just call you an elitist. They start talking about respectability politics. They start talking about all this bullshit. There's a term for everything, right? There's literally a lot of terms I learned as a socialist is insane, right? Like it's like there's a term for everything just to enable shitty bad behavior. right?
But
And then
everybody that wears red, black, and green for big events don't make them pro-black. And some of them same Negroes you see at the liquor store right after the event or at the drug house. So I do understand that. One thing I can say about the nation, when I was serving posts, doing my posts, we went everywhere. And when we are called on, now you won't call on us to do marches. You can forget about that. We're not into that type of march. All right. The march on Washington, the Million Man March, that was something else for atonement. And that was a reason to go from there to start cleaning up your community, start doing business towards each other. There was a lot of things that really people really don't look at it today as being an event that really changed something. But I know personally it changed a lot of things in California. So one of the worstest places could be at the time when that march was going on, the gang out here was just rampant. I mean, but when people came back and started working into the neighborhood, even with us Christians and all these other sectors, we still had our different sectors of, but we came together and started looking at some of the problems in the community. Now, what I disagree with, if anybody who think that pro-blacks have not ever hold women accountable, that's one of the first thing we do, because it might sound simple now when we say this, but we have a belief a man can never go no higher than his woman. And it don't mean that his woman is higher than him. What we say is anywhere you find women with bad behavior, that community is turned upside down. You can go in a community and find bad behavior of men, and the community can still be functionable. But if you find any corner that prostitutes or places like that where people are hanging out on the corner and it's just, that community is upside down. Believe it or not. You can go in the community. Okay.
Because at this point we infomercial speaking at this point. I mean, here's the thing.
Well, I'm gonna pass it to the X first real quick. I'm gonna throw it to X first real quick. Shout out to brother Xavier.
Only from TPOT Media. Open your minds.
Go ahead.
Peace, brother Bernard, brother Game Changer, JR, the OG, and of course the Hurricane. When you think about this pro-black stuff, right? This is what confuses me. When you listen, somebody got a lot of noise back there.
That's Ed. I'm about to mute Ed.
All right, I'm gonna mute.
When you think about this, this whole pro-black thing, I often wonder who decides, who dictates who's pro-black and who is not. And I think that's where it gets a little dicey, because when you say you're pro-black meaning what? You speak pro-black, you have a pro-black YouTube page, or you are pro-black in your actions and your deeds. Now, what often happens here on media, we get it confused with you're pro-black if you agree with someone who says they're pro-black. That's kind of as far as it goes. And often that person who says or claims they're pro-black, these people are just people who subscribe to black apathy, if you can understand what I'm saying. These are people who just co-sign black apathy. So if everybody on here, right, we talk about black issues, whether it be black women, whether it be black men, whether it be black society, black business, black economics. If you are in that lane of speaking, in a sense, aren't you all pro-black? Aren't we all pro-black in a sense? I don't think there's no blanketed label that you can just kind of throw on everybody. So, you're not pro-black if you don't do this. You are pro-black if you do this. I mean, it's just nonsense. And all you have to do is listen to the people who are saying it. Listen to them. Because some of the people who carry this damn pro-black flag around and drape themselves in it, these are the same people who have committed some of the greatest offenses, have been the most disrespectful, who have attacked nothing but black people. So I find it hard to believe a person can say they're pro-black and their main claim to fame is screwing with other black folks, trying to destroy other black folks, disrespecting other black folks. So I guess that means you're only pro-black. You're only pro-black when it's convenient. You're only pro-black to the people who freaking do the bobblehead when you're talking. That's when you're pro-black, right? If the people ain't sitting around you in a circle jerk giving you the bobblehead when you're speaking, guess what? They're not pro-black. Why? Because they don't sign off with your black apathy about what black is, what black is not, what black does, what it does not. So the whole pro-black thing has been bastardized. If you ask me, it's been bastardized because anyone can claim it and anyone can say you're not it. Therefore, there must not be no real term for it. There must not be no real description or definition for it because it changes with who's ever saying it. That's all.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I just want to say that's really good. Sorry for the music. I'm actually in a place, but that makes perfect sense because when you look at when the topic we were first talking about, the first thing was, well, we're going to disassociate this person from this. Now we all generally we know what we're talking about. We're talking about the context of which stuff is talked about online. Okay. And we know where folks come from, and then it becomes this argument about association, and now you got to pay attention when somebody officially declared they weren't. But when I ask an audience why did they listen to her, it always comes back to she's got some good points, and it's insinuation she's got the best, intentions for the community, which gives what she says weight as far as her critiques of black men. If it was a channel that was advertised, I hate black men, and this is a channel to talk about why I hate black men, then people wouldn't take it as seriously. They wouldn't. And this is what an
And is
argument
there any
also
way you
becomes.
can get to another space because that background noise is kind of loud?
Yes, it is.
All right, so yeah, I'll back out because yeah, it is loud. But yeah, so anyway, I'll back off of it. This will be something I'll comment on later. But yeah, but I'll say this and then I am done. The reality is we know what we're talking about when it comes to what we talk about with pro-black. Everybody may not know, but the majority of people in that chat know exactly what we're talking about. And a lot of people like to muddy up the argument in order to try to make it as subjective as possible. So everything means everything and nothing means nothing. I actually gave the Nation of Islam specifically a pass on what I was talking about in the commentary I was making. So when I look at all the sectors, they all come back to generally not holding women accountable, with the exception of the Nation of Islam. So there's that.
Edward, and see, you bring up a nice point, a strong point. Me and you met, and we got into some combative conversation, and it got so bad you just wanted me to die. Now, I didn't consider you non-pro-black because you said that. I just consider that I stepped on your toe and you hollered a little louder than I wanted you to. And these things happen. You got to understand. In anything, when it comes to the human being, we gonna have some moments we ain't gonna be at our best. All right. Then you got the pretenders out there who pretend that they put on the dashikis and they put on the African clothes, but then they go back in the neighborhood and do the same bullshit they was doing before the meeting started. I understand all this. Even in the black manosphere, we got some people that we can consider, we don't know if they're manosphere or they're not manosphere, but they speak on manosphere talking points, and you even use some of the greatest statistics we have in these spaces. But in the long run, you keep listening to them talk, you know they're not representing what you all are representing. And so that's in any organization. So what I'm trying to say is, it's hard to define something when you're already black, right? Well, even if you didn't want to be pro-black, your color go speak for you within itself. And so what I'm trying to say is,
We'll finish it, and I want to put this in, and I will hop down.
Yes, sir.
You notice how no other group or sector, they never take our quote unquote talking points line by line and break them. You notice they never do that. Like, and this is why I bring up trying to make everything subjective, because they go out of their way to avoid it. Because two things: one is because they can't, and two, because they probably will openly admit that they agree with what we're saying.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of where the argument came into, even with Psycho. You know, he's saying he agrees that necessary, but he don't emotionally like it, so he just gonna call it gender banging and make it the same thing. So at that point, then by definition, you don't see he is necessary. One is either
Right.
necessary or what isn't. But see, people want their cake and eat it too, because they emotionally want to believe what they want to believe. People emotionally want black men and black women to be together, and I don't think anybody like is against that. But what we're not going to do is basically, bend over and take it in order to make that happen. That's where, and certain people are more willing to do that than others. And that's where we start to have the disagreement. And then certain people, they don't want to ever have that conversation. What they do is they say, okay, well, we're going to lie and we're going to pretend certain things are not going on, or we're going to pretend it's not as bad as what people are saying. So it always comes back to either you're upset, you're gay, you didn't get chose. It's got to come back to that. That's why it keeps, even Shahrazad Ali brought it back to that. She said either you were hurt by a woman or you were turned out by a man. Now, you have listened to this space long enough to know the hurt by a woman, yeah, that may have some plausibility to it, but ain't nobody in this space has been turned out by a man, and that's why they make it talking this content. Because truth be told, the dudes that have been turned by a man are generally anti-heterosexual black men and pro-black women, and that includes dudes that come out of the prison. They're generally pro-black women.
Yeah.
So, but that's what she said. That'll be fair. I don't think she should have ever been asked the question, because I don't think she knows enough about what we do to make an assessment of that. Because listening to random sounds on YouTube don't mean nothing. But I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, but she's been speaking. She's been speaking that way before there was a black manosphere. That's one of the things, points that she covers in the Black Man Guide to Understand the Black Woman and the Black Woman Guide to Understand the Black Man. Nobody wants to talk about that book, and that's one of the things she's been speaking, that she didn't need. See, a lot of people took her as far as a personal attack on maybe somebody in our spaces, but that's not her. That wasn't the area that she was going into, because she's been speaking on the homosexual movement in our community way
So
back
is
in the
Dr.
day.
Francis Grossing
Yeah,
has too.
yeah,
She's
most
probably more
certainly.
expert.
Right, she is an expert
And
because
Dr.
she's training she's training how the brain and the mind works. And so, when she wrote her ISIS paper, she covered a lot of these fields. And so what I'm trying to say, Neela Fuller, who did, she got a lot of her ideals from not her education, but a lot of her ideas after hearing him speak. So I'm just saying is, like, when you take the old and you mix it with the new, if you don't understand that these people have been out there so long, you might take it as being a personal attack, but these people have been speaking along these lines all the time. And it has nothing to do with what the new generation is doing. And I think it should be
You know
clarified,
what?
or the person who's
All
interviewing
right.
that person, the person who's interviewing that person should take that
Okay.
person
I'll,
and ask the
I'll give
right
you
kind
that.
of question.
But I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you a simple question. You're the oldest person on. And I say that because you got a lot of experience and you got military experience. The black men that you know that had to tend to talk, if they do talk a lot of issues, and black women, have they been of the homosexual persuasion,
No.
even
And,
outside the
and,
man,
and
even
yeah,
outside the
I
man
mean, see, all
sphere?
this talk. Yeah, you're right. You're right, because all these conversations y'all having now, they was having these conversations even back in the '60s and the '50s at cookouts. They was having when we have good together. You see the men's get together. Yeah, they was complaining about their wives, their girlfriends, and stuff like this. Y'all just have a medium, and the way y'all do it now, y'all do it openly. But these conversations, I don't heard all my life. You got to understand that. I don't heard the grievance with men having problems with women. I don't heard the other grievance on the other side. I mean, I have heard these conversations all my life. Maybe it's new to us, some guys. Maybe it's new to some women, but y'all got to understand, communication has not changed as far as speaking on a subject. The only thing changed is the medium that we speak on. But these subjects been covered. I mean, you have had groups against each other ever since the 30s, the 1800s. I mean, you have had people in different organizations attacking each other. If you look at the Nation of Islam, Martin Luther King, all that was, all that was two different ways to get to the same place. So these conversations has been covered. It's just that now we have a new medium where we can instantly get on a microphone and get on a video, and we can talk about these subjects now on a different medium. But these subjects been covered ever since I've been living.
I disagree. I disagree with that, OG. I totally
and
disagree.
that's your experience. That's not mine.
I disagree.
And you have a right to do it because that's your experience, and that's not mine. And that's what this subject is all about today. Is your experience, your anecdote, TOP, is your anecdote, not mine. And I shouldn't try to shut the door on yours, and you shouldn't try to shut the doors on mine.
I don't disagree with your experience. I don't disagree with your particular anecdotal experience. I don't disagree with that at all, because only you can tell your story. But what I do disagree with is the fact that men have always been able to talk the way men talk in 2021. I grew up around a lot of men. So I share some of your similar experiences because I grew up with a lot of men. I have 5 older brothers. I was raised by my father. I had a lot of uncles and shit. So, as a little boy, my whole existence was around men, and the men did talk like this. But on the other side of that, when you found yourself at places where there are not a lot of men, there's not a lot of male influence, people don't have fathers, you didn't hear these type of conversations. You don't hear them now. I know when I go places, speaking anecdotally, when I go places, most of the time ain't nothing there but hoes and kids. So it's not like it's, all these men are around where they're having these conversations. These conversations happen in places where the male influence is heavy. If there's a heavy female influence there, you don't hear a lot of these conversations, and you definitely don't have the goddamn men having these conversations, because the men that are within that circle of influence, they're freaking scared to say the shit we say up here. They would.
Hey, so let me ask you a question.
They're not open their mouth talking about this kind of stuff.
Let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a question. How in the hell you think this new generation have all these shows now with these barbershop conversations? So obviously these kids must have been walking around with the most egregious hairstyle in the world, because in the barbershop I heard these conversations. At cookouts, I heard these conversations. Anywhere that, just like you say, there were men come together, women and men were separating and get into their own little conversation, even in family galleries, family unions, birthday parties, everything. I heard these type of conversations. And my father was born in 1909. So it ain't just like it just started in the 70s or the 80s. Man, I heard these conversations. And you take any kid to go in a barbershop, a lot of women didn't even like to go in the barbershop because of the conversations that men would be having up in the barbershop. So,
but not everybody's in the barbershop, OG.
Not what I'm saying, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, unless the child is in the closet somewhere where they didn't have any kind of gatherings or parties, birthday parties, where men was not showing up at any kind of event, I don't see how they could have not heard these conversations. I remember the time when I even was little. I'm just saying, I remember the time when I was little, when adults started having these type of conversations, they would ask the children to go back in the other room, even playing some of the old comedy records, Red Fox and all that. There's always in my life, and I'm telling you, and I was a sheltered person. I was brought up in Christianity. I'm telling you, in my life, I heard these conversations even when I didn't supposed to be hearing some of these conversations. We just have a different media now, man, where everybody can have these conversations and can speak to that group of men now without having to go to a gallery, not having to show up into the barbershop. we're having these conversations every day, 24/7, all up and down these YouTube streets. That's the only difference I see.
Yeah, but this is YouTube. I will challenge anybody to go in a place that isn't heavily male influenced and start talking about some of this shit that we talk about up here and see what kind of response you get. See what
Same
kind
here.
of response.
Same here.
See what kind of response you get.
Hey, TP, same thing here. Go outside the manosphere and start going on some of these goddamn stations that women are heavy influence, and you get the same result. See, this is what I'm talking about. The communication.
We're not talking about stations, though. I'm talking about in real life.
I'm not talking about. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying
at the
is
barbecue. I'm talking
right.
about at the family reunion. I'm talking about at the cookout, at the
right.
fair,
right.
at Thanksgiving dinner. I'm talking
right.
about
But
talking about some of this shit. You might
but
get
what I'm
ran the
just
hell
saying,
up out of there.
no,
if there's
no.
no
What
other
I'm
men
saying, no, what I'm saying is, you wouldn't go in a Klan meeting and start talking about Black Power in the first goddamn place. That's in YouTube street or in real life. What I'm trying to make a connection there. What I'm trying to make a connection is when there is a presence of Black men, they have had these discussions. Now, I could give you that you are saying when it's not a heavy presence, you don't start getting in the middle of women conversation and same thing that we quiet over here in the YouTube street. We don't let women come over here and hijack our subjects.
I don't think it's about hijacking a subject. I think
it is. If a woman comes over here and asks us, why are we talking about men affairs, how we're getting along in a relationship, I guarantee you're going to have 2 or 3 people go shoot right at her ass and say, why are you here? So you are correct when you
understand.
Right, you are correct when you say when you don't have a presence of men. But I'm saying when you do have a presence of men in events, football games, all kinds of stuff, you will always find a brother who's having problems with his relationship when men will come together and they would just speak on different things. Oh man, I'm in the doghouse. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, this motherfucker. You know, I've been hearing this, man. I don't know where a lot of the other older brothers, what they heard, what the hell they was hearing. But I'm telling you, these conversations have been carried out in different levels of my life.
I think in a smaller pocket though, because you refer to a man saying he's in the doghouse. If a man says he's in the doghouse, that would implicate what? That he has a woman, a wife, a girlfriend, a significant other. Now,
yes,
when we talk about like the type of conversations we have up here, we'll use Brother Bernard because this is where we are. We're in his house. The type of conversations that go on here, you didn't hear a lot of this kind of stuff. You didn't hear the fallibilities of women. You didn't hear the differences between Black women and other women. You didn't hear that kind of stuff, especially if you weren't in a place that was mostly geared towards men. And we all know that a lot of us, if not the majority of us, aren't raised in an environment that's just inundated with freaking men. Because if most of us were raised in that environment, Black society would be a different place. It just
I know, but
place.
you're talking about a different generation. TOP, you got to be honest now. You got to be honest now. Well, in the 50s and in the 50s and the 60s, you couldn't get that statement would just fly out the window. Even in the early 70s, when you start talking about the 80s,
OG. In the 50s and the 60s, we didn't have as many broken families as we have. We didn't have as much illegitimacy as we have.
Right.
We didn't have as many freaking baby mamas and dudes with 50 and dudes with 55 baby mamas. We didn't have those then.
So when did that start, TOP? When did that start, though? Let's be honest. When did that start?
Well, a lot of it started after the civil rights movement. You know, you talking about circa 1965 through 1970. That's when all this shit started to come down the pipe within the last 51 years or so. That's when all this craziness started to come down the pipe.
And we got a big dose of it on steroids in the 80s when all the talk shows started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because women used to sit around and look at soap operas before all these goddamn talk shows, these reality talk shows came on, right? So they was getting their relationship based on what the fuck they seen on these goddamn as the world turned and all that other bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they was looking in the windows of the white people, how they guided their relationship, right? Because these women was at home, all right? And so when you start getting into the 80s, you got the ladies who got all these talk shows, because before that it was the Donahue show. And that was it. But then you got the Oprah Winfrey, the Sally Jessel, and you got the Jenny Jones, and you got all these other bullshitting shows, right? Start telling and defining what men should be. We had no voices in them shows. But this is the generation that we started having a lot of single mothers when it was okay to be a single mother. So that's what I'm saying. I'm identifying that we did have a lax in a period of time to get where we're at today. But I'm telling you, before all that, men didn't have no problem discussing their problems with other men. Now, I have to give it to y'all now that y'all are willing to discuss it not only with men, but y'all will let the women know on a loud microphone how the fuck you feel. Now, I give that to the new generation. That's the level they took it to. And that's not a bad thing. Don't you understand that I'm saying that that's a bad thing? It is a good thing. Because now that we don't have to have that other zaddy fight that we had back in the 50s and the 60s. Y'all got to understand it was a two-part fight. Trying to keep your family together and fight zaddy too. But now we don't have to fight zaddy as hard. Then we can concentrate on our relationship. So that's a good thing that y'all are letting women know how you feel. But it's still going to have to come to a point where y'all going to have that conversation that my brother who written the book was Acidia. I can't say his name even right today. Acidia talked about Obsidian. So we're gonna have to break down and have that conversation that a lot of us, even the Black manosphere, don't quite understand yet.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna shut the hell up because I don't want to hog up Brother Bernard's shit. I'm gonna ask you a question, OG, and
yes,
I'm gonna make an analogy. In my backyard, I have a fire pit, right? And I burn big fires there. You know, I burn whatever's wood goes in there, right? Now,
yes,
if I'm standing next to that fire pit, right, I can feel the heat from said fire pit. Now, as I walk farther away from that fire pit, I will feel less of the heat. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
So, here's the end of my analogy. Here we are in 2021, right? The illegitimacy rate is pretty much hovered wherever it's always been, and it's probably a little higher if you go into the inner city urban areas. Now, when we were closer to segregation, Jim Crow, slavery, these things weren't as big as a problem. But it seems that the further we've gotten away from the fire pit, we are still feeling the heat. We are still getting burned. This is what I don't understand. You would think that the further we are from the things that we claim to oppress us, when those things get further into our rearview mirror, now we can complain about it. We can say, oh, it's because of this. It's because of that. It's because of Jim Crow. It's because of slavery. It's because of God wanted black people to be slaves to white people. Whatever you want to put in that blank. This is what I don't understand. You would think that the further we are from all these problems, the bigger distance we put between us and the fire pit. Why are we still burnt here in 2021? That's what I want to know.
Let me give you my analogy of your analogy.
Go right ahead.
Let me give you. Okay. Let me give you my analogy.
Go ahead. We about to wrap this up pretty
we're gonna wrap it up. But let me just say this, Bernard. Okay. You take the average person being mentally abused or physical abuse. Any psychologist will tell you the mental abuse is almost lifelong, or that you have to work on it. All right. what you got to understand, when we was fighting against Zaddy, I didn't say Daddy, I said Zaddy, and when we was fighting against him, then we had a purpose to stay together. And you say, why? When we get further along, I'm gonna tell you why. Because once we went through that traumatic experience, we never really got any help that you would give an average man or woman who have went through a traumatic experience to seek some help, mental help. And this is why mentally that we shun in our community, but it's a thing that we need the most. It's because the mental abuse we have suffered, we have never did anything but talk about the antidote of it and not seek the help that we really need as a body of people. And that's why you are getting the residue of being further away from the fire, and it seems to be showing its ugly head now because mentally we are fucked up.
All right. We're gonna leave it there. Shout out to David Johnson in the building. I'm bad, I didn't read your last super chat, but he says, Brother X, 100% right. I live this red pill content, and everywhere I take these conversations, a riot breaks out. Fifis everywhere. Excuse me, damn near every time these conversations are not popular. Thank you for that, David Johnson. Young J says you had the movie called Claudine. Well, he says Cap. I think those are blue hats. I don't know. But he says you had the movie called Claudine in the 70s, I believe, which was about a single mom, black woman with a gang of kids, no man in sight. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. And one thing, I petitioned to retire the word zaddy. That word shouldn't come out the mouth of black men. I just think that we need to
right. And OG ain't even, you ain't even say pause, man. Come on.
we need to retire that word, cast it away, kick it into the Spartan pit.
What would we replace it with then, Bernard?
You could have just said fighting against white racism.
Okay. Well, I just use that word because I think the younger generation
nowadays.
But the younger generation, I try to use the vernacular of the younger generation. Because when I start talking about old shit, and they be like, "Well, that's obsolete to even talk about that shit." So I use the terminology they use today. Okay. I apologize. No harm. No harm. No foul.
On behalf of
everybody's using it, but yeah, that one that one don't sit right with me. I want that one to die. But I understand everybody using it nowadays. But yeah, that
Bernard, on behalf of the young generation, we don't claim them niggas as well. Okay, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Brother Bernard,
yes.
Can I get a shameless plug, man, before you
absolutely.
Speaking of old Negroes, tonight on the TPOT YouTube page, we will be having an old Negro stream. It's called Being the Old Negro, and I'll have a few old Negroes like myself up there tonight, and we'll be throwing down and we'll be talking about old Negro shit. Then right after that, because it's a TPOT double header, we'll be throwing down with the Hood Conservative Challenge. All right. The Hood Conservative is willing to take on anybody tonight who disagrees with what he says. And the topic on the table is what has done the most harm, racism or feminism. And the Hood Conservative will be on TPOT tonight, 11:15 p.m., taking on anybody. I mean, anybody. So come through.
I'm gonna come over there and spank him. I'm gonna come over there and spank him a little bit, then.
All right.
Right on. And also, in the name of I say unshameless plugs, Lil Big Nate just sent a Cash App requesting that I plug. Oh wait, hold on. Am I doing that right? Hold on. Trying to blow it up. That I plug his show for tonight. Shout out to Little Big Nate. The title is The Far-Reaching Consequences of Bad Decisions, Ladies Edition. And you can see in the thumbnail, there is a lot going on here. A lot going on here in the thumbnail. But shout out to Little Big Nate. Make sure you subscribe to Little Big Nate if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to Brother Xavier. If you're not already, I happen to have Lil Big Nate's link handy right now, so I can drop that link. I make sure y'all check out Lil Big Nate tonight, and after y'all check out Lil Big Nate, go on over to Brother Xavier's channel and check out. You gotta see the Hood Servative challenge. Make sure y'all go.
Hey, Bernard, I have a quick question, Bernard.
Will, go ahead. You taking us home?
Is it possible to be pro-black if I wear the white man's deodorant?
Yeah, because he probably stole it. He probably stole it, so you can wear it.
He stole the deodorant.
He probably stole it.
He stole it.
I don't give a fuck where he got it from Mars. He probably stole it. So yeah, you can wear it, my brother. Don't worry. Don't be ashamed of it. Smell good. Keep your ass walking down the street.
Brother, I was told I have to smell funky. I have to smell funky to be pro-black. So
no, brother.
No.
If you wear Old Spice, original, which is made by Terry Crews and the other guy, it's okay.
Yeah. And it's very okay, but watch out for the little short white men that might come and grab your groins, though.
Yeah. Shout out to my brother, Big Nate.
Yeah, Lil Big Nate, them thumbnails, like, it just makes me wonder, like, what really goes on in the mind of Lil Big Nate. It's like, do your brain operate that scattered? it's like so much going on in the thumbnail. It's like a beautiful mind, Little Big Nate edition. You can see everything that just cycles through Lil Big Nate head all at one time right there.
It's busy. I can tell you that, but it's busy as hell.
We seeing inside. Like, look at that. We seeing inside the mind of Little Big Nate right there.
Yeah.
Right, shout out to Little Big Nate. Make sure y'all go check them out. Shout out to Gina789. She always comes through at the buzzer with a super chat. I appreciate that. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace.
Peace, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yep, no doubt. At least I think I ended the stream correctly. I don't know if we still on or not. Wait, there we go.